Well, here we
Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. Nathan. I know Nathan's laughing at jokes. Okay, yeah. If you want to know what we're laughing about, you have to join our Patreon. The stuff that's not making, yeah, there you go. The stuff that makes it to YouTube is Nathan coughing. The stuff that doesn't make it to YouTube is some of the jokes that we say that is a little bit too hot for YouTube, as they say. So check out our YouTube. Sorry. Sorry,
that's another inside joke.
Inside joke, and I joined our Patreon to see why that's funny. Okay, that's funny, Kira. Okay, true. They're all redheads. Okay, the point.
No, they're not.
It's a joke. See,
tell you what, I love the Scottish accent.
Oh, yeah.
You can be not that good looking, but have a Scottish accent.
Don't hint anymore. Don't hint. Nobody knew what that was about. Now they have an idea. See, nobody knew what we're talking about. Okay. All right, Nathan. I'm excited. We're doing an interview with CEO. The CEO dude, I forget his name. He's a great interviewer. We watched him interview Liam a while back, and he did a great job getting information out of Liam. Liam I think Liam and probably a lot of this guy's guests probably respond well to being Stephen. Thank you, Nina. Yeah. So Stephen,
and I've watched. I was just going to interject. I've watched quite a bit of this guy in different contexts. All kinds of topics he covers. So I actually really enjoy how he sets it up because he doesn't really interject very much. He has his questions, but he lets the host talk. So it's really good.
The guest talk,
or the guest. He's the host. Yeah,
he's
whatever.
No. Well, it is a same thing. Yeah, yeah. Louis is interviewing Stephen. So here we are. We are watching Louis interview Stephen. Obviously, this is a new interview. Very excited to watch this. This is like a month old at the time it's recording. Not even maybe a month old. So Louis coming out with a third album. And before people say us in the comments, yes, Nathan and I do intend. We just don't know yet because June is a bit off. We do intend to see Louis in Vancouver in 2026, June of 2026. So if you're a Welper and you're going to be at the same show, we'd love to meet you there. Yeah. So that is the goal.
Tradition.
Yeah, that is the goal. So we'll keep you updated over the months regarding that. But we might have to wait till after Christmas before we can buy tickets, if they're still available. But they're all sold out. That's fine. We're happy for Louis. But it's just a matter of our life schedule. I can't see that far ahead right now. It's tough to buy tickets. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Yeah.
Louis Tomlinson!
I didn't spend my life as a young lad thinking I was going to be a singer. Like, I grew up in a working class town, 7 of us living in a 3-bed house. Like, my mum used to work a lot of nights. She had to play dad as well. So I would have to get my sisters ready for school. So people in Doncaster didn't get those opportunities. And then the X Factor came along. I auditioned 3 times. The first time I failed, the second time I failed. And I remember thinking, this is utterly crushing, just sobbing to me mum. But she made me feel like I could do anything. So instead of running away, it was like, I know I deserve it, I know I can. So how do I relearn confidence and go for a 3rd time?
When I think about what happened in the preceding 5 or 6 years, it is crazy.
Yeah, and the toughest thing to deal with is just the lack of normality. And part of growing up in a working class town, I have this like guilt for the success and money that I've earned. And then personal worth within the band, I really, really struggled with.
But you co-wrote 15 platinum singles.
But I wanted to do more.
Is this like the preview or something?
Yeah, this is just...
I hate that. I thought I skipped it all.
Trailers.
Well, it's because we're going to watch the interview. You don't need to convince me to watch this juicy stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's how YouTube works, though. Right?
I know.
Again, like people that are going to click away, they go, "Why should I watch this?" So
okay, I'm just going to mute it till it just passes. I'm just going to kind of squint my eyes. I thought it was like because the graphics were all like, yeah, there's this family, but I don't want to hear this. Like. Because I'll say this is a weird interview. It's like a Michael Bay interview. See the show. I don't want to read the okay. Yeah. See, we get it. I'm covering just enough so I can see when the trailer ends. Oh, it was shown in the cinema. Oh, okay. That's cool. I just
here we go.
Okay. Is it done?
I think so.
The floor is yours.
Okay.
Okay. He'll do a little intro here.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
His intro is about how his channel works and blah blah blah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay. All the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated.
Sorry,
it's the simple, it's the free thing that anybody that watches the show frequently can do to help us here to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed. And thank you so much.
You have 14 million subscribers. You're doing good, buddy.
So much. Yeah. Because in a strange way, you're part of our history. And you're on this journey with us, and I appreciate you for that. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if you haven't subscribed to our channel.
Yeah, because we always say that in every video.
We say in every video. Maybe we need to. We might have more subscribers.
No, we do not.
Trust me. Steven just did it, and he has 14 million.
But it's the way that he does it. And, of course, he's got a long-form content, so he can take that, 1 minute to say that. Yeah, we're not going to say that in every video. And
subscribe. Click the like button. Click notification. Buy our merch.
Louis, to understand you, what is the earliest context that I need?
Something that played a massive role for me in my life was the fact that maybe for the first 4 or 5 years of my life, it was just me and my mum. My first proper memories are just kind of having like really kind of nice and warm and really like emotional conversations with my mum. I think something that I'm kind of proud of is that I find it easy to be emotional, and I kind of like talking about my feelings, and I like getting into conversation with other people about that. And that was definitely something that she instilled in me from like a really young age. And something that still definitely really helps me today, especially, navigating through the life like I have. Those kind of things of being able to talk about your emotions and your feelings, like vitally important actually for the job that I do mentally,
So your father was...
Boy, we get right into the... like, hey, how are you doing? All right.
Comes out swinging. Yeah. I like talking about my feelings. And my mom put that in me. Yeah.
Well, which, not surprising.
Mm-hmm.
We know how much Louis loved his mom, and boy, it's we'll get to some probably tougher parts of his life, but that's especially as his relationship with his mom like that, and that he had that. I mean, it's sad what's happened, but the fact that he had it, because people could live their whole life with their quote unquote living parent and never have any kind of like the level of relationship it's not a fraction of what Louis had, so it's not necessarily old age determines what the impact of a parent can be. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And around your biological father left soon after you were born?
Yeah, it's not really something I speak loads about, but I'm happy to. He wasn't involved in my life at all. I've met him like 3 times ever.
Oh, wow.
So your mother played, I guess, several roles in your life.
Yeah, my mum was always really good at that. I think she realized the fact that my dad wasn't going to be around.
I met my dad 3 times. When I joined One Direction, One Direction did their 2nd tour and their 5th tour, or whatever. Yeah. Hi, Louis. I really think you're doing great out there. I think you're. I wonder if one of those 3 times. I wonder if he'll say when he met his dad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She had to play dad as well, and she had this kind of mischievous instinct in her, my mum, and definitely kind of inspired some of that. And part of that was her being her, but part of that was also trying to play that kind of dad role, where you kind of lark about and encourage to do kind of silly things that aren't going to hurt, She was just like, I could get emotional talk about it. She's just the best woman I ever knew, definitely. And also just, I feel so vitally lucky to be able to have her as my mentor, because she just... everything that I look to in friends and partners, etc., they're the kind of things that she embodied, really.
See, I'm not a psychologist, but we've seen enough TV shows, movies, but throughout the years in our long life, Nathan, that you do kind of pick your parent as a partner throughout your life, whether it's your marriage or a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever at the time, but. So that's why you hear the term with a female. Sometimes you hear that terrible term, the daddy issues. But it's a cliche for a reason. If somebody does have parental issues, they can take that into their relationships. And that's what's beautiful here is what Louis is saying is I had a wonderful relationship with my mother. So I try to emulate that kind of relationship and that kind of feeling. Like I want my partner to emulate my mother. That's a great, that's healthy. That's a healthy thing is what I'm saying. So the reverse is true.
Yep. I agree.
Oh, you could play. I didn't know he had a tic-tac-toe on his arm. He cheated. He didn't even let the O's play. Yeah, well, he didn't even let the O's play.
Yeah, that's how you play when you're Louis.
I guess so. All right.
And you had siblings.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah, lots of them. So when I grew up, like kind of like the bulk of my childhood, there was 7 of us living in a 3-bed house. I've got a little bit better at it, but one thing I really have struggled with is being on my own. And the more I've thought about that as I've got a bit older, it's because I just never had an opportunity to be when I was young. When you live in a house that, you know, it's 3-bedroom, there's 7 people living in it, you're literally all living on top of each other. And I loved that. Like, it was like one of the best things that ever happened to me being an older brother. Like,
we heard that he played a lot of parental figure with his siblings, right?
Yeah.
Being the old,
Yep. He was very directly involved in raising his siblings, I think.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Like, was his dad a different parent than the other siblings? Is that the idea? Is like, because he looks much older than, like, I assume if the dad left when he was born, there must be a different dad for the other.
Yeah.
What's the story with that guy? Was he around? Did he stick around? Or?
Yeah. Remember there was like he was kind of, I feel like we've seen him. I know we've seen him.
I know. There's a lot of family history. It's hard to, so they're half siblings and looks like they did stick around. Okay. I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. Oh, the stepfather, was he good? Well, let me know if he talks about in the interview, but if not, let us know now. Was he a good stepdad? I can't remember. I think he was.
It's like one of the definitions of my purpose, I would say. I just like to look after people, man. So like being an older brother is like a role I feel like I was always supposed to.
I think
the blonde girl, is that his sister?
I think they all are his sisters.
I mean, they're all beautiful people.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
To do. And then I think even, you know, as we move through life and a couple of things got more challenging, that role has become more prevalent, definitely.
I was fortunate enough to speak to quite a few people that have known you over the years.
I heard that was cool.
Yeah, and I was just listening to some of the recordings of those conversations, like Nizam.
Yeah.
He's your childhood best friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cal, who's your photographer and videographer.
Yeah, love Cal.
Throughout the years. And Lottie, who's your youngest sister, 6 years younger.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's interesting that one of the things they all came back to is that you really haven't changed.
I appreciate that. I give me goosebumps.
But that's what they said. Your best friend from childhood said that's one of the most remarkable things, that you're still made out of the same stuff and you've never turned around and thought you were anything more than you were back then.
It's like me and you, Nathan, despite our successes, we're still the same goose.
We haven't changed anything.
No, we haven't let success change us.
When he knew you.
And that's one thing I love about him, you know, as a friend. I've never said this to his face, but, you know, he's a real guy. Like, you know, he's never turned around to us and never said, oh, I'm this big shot now, or that ego, you know, that's never played, and he's never been embarrassed of us. You know, he's a real guy.
It's at least 50% conscious that, or at least it started out as that idea. Because I think when you enter a crazy situation and One Direction being like the pinnacle of that idea, there's people around you that all of a sudden feel that used to feel really, really similar. And all of a sudden they feel really different. I'm not talking about day-to-day conversation, but I'm talking about stuff that we can relate to, problems that I might have had, that I might, you know, talk to them about. And I think that's quite an alienating feeling. So instead of kind of just submitting, I've always resisted that. It's been really important to me. And those kind of things, you know, hearing that and hearing other people say that about me, that does make me really proud, because there's definitely, you know, it's definitely a lifestyle that can kind of sweep you away. But I think
I mean, girls, money, fans, fame, young age, it starts like,
and not to like point fingers, but within One Direction, you can kind of see it with some of the others, how that kind of twisted things up. Not that they went off the deep end per se, but of all the members, I'd say Louis probably stayed the same the most. Like Other than like the goofball X Factor, like he matured. He's still matured,
of course.
like a normal human boy, right? But like he didn't really like mature and then become this like entity, you know?
Right.
That,
no,
or anything like that. Yeah.
No. What do you think of his haircut?
Interesting. I mean, he's experimented with a lot of different haircuts, so I hope he likes it.
Look, I love Louis. He's a handsome fella. He's always been my favorite. I'm more of a fade. You know, like I'm not a hardline haircut guy, but that's good. Mm-hmm. I'm happy for him. I hope
he likes
it suits him better than it would suit me.
It looks like a football haircut.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Right.
Soccer.
And I mean soccer for those who
those Americans. But Nathan and I, we know it's football. Yeah, some people it is polar. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a cut. It's a haircut. Sorry. I supercuts. I don't know. Maybe it was a Make-A-Wish Foundation for some dying kid. You know, like I want to cut Louis' hair before I pass this border coil. The kid was blind. Maybe I don't know.
The other side of that and getting swept away, I don't really like the idea of what that might look like, and I think you need people around you that are going to tell you if you're being a dick. Like vitally important in this job, definitely. And those things, I think when you're surrounded, you know, like a lot of successful people are, when you're surrounded only by success, it breeds a funny kind of narrative. To be respected from people in Doncaster like that means a lot to me. Definitely.
Interesting, boy. So this played in a movie, because you could tell it's heavily, not in a bad way, but you could tell it's edited.
Yeah,
the cuts are quick. Yeah. You can see stuff may or may not have been taken out, or who knows what. But you can see the edits. My eye sees them. I don't know if you're seeing them, Nathan, but. And you can see the film quality is a little bit higher. Like it seems like a higher. Are all his videos like this now? Because it seems like a higher one than the Liam one.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I remember the Liam one. There was like the camera was kind of moving a lot, but this one he's just got multiple angles. I've actually just if we're going to talk about filmmaking, I've always wanted to do this with like when you and I are together to have like multiple cameras that you cut between, and then you. I know.
Nathan. I love Nathan so much. I love it. This, you know, what's the studio setup cost? I wonder what the cost is for this studio. I wonder.
I don't think it's that much.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Definitely. So that's another reason why, you know, I wouldn't drive through the streets of Doncaster in a fucking Ferrari or whatever.
Uh-huh. And you went to school in Doncaster, Hayfields?
Yeah, Hayfields, where I did most of my time, and then I failed my A-levels and then went somewhere else for a year.
You failed your A-levels?
I failed my A-levels, yes. That was the first time I'd ever got a real bollocking off my mum. A real dressing down. She was really, really fair. But there was something that she was kind of strict on with schoolwork. And I remember getting in the car and she said, "You fucked your life up." Oh. And she never swore. And I remember I got goosebumps thinking about it there. I remember thinking, maybe I need to do something with my life.
Well, she's a parent who struggled, you know, with his dad. You know, she just was scared for her oldest, right? This is her oldest son. You know, you and I are both parents, so we understand that feeling of like, you know, don't make mistakes that I've made. I've already made these mistakes. You don't have to. I'm telling you, XYZ is not the way to go. Whatever, to school. You know what it's like, Nathan. Of course, you try so hard to tell you they're their own entity. They will make, but there's a party that says, you know, I did make these mistakes. You don't have to. The water's hot. Don't put your finger in it. I promise it's hot. Don't do it. But anyways, yeah.
No, I agree.
At 16 years old, you join a drama group. And I was watching actually just before you arrived. At 17 years old, you got the lead role in Grease.
That's right. I think we saw this.
Yeah, we've seen this.
The foundations were set, and you ultimately, at 18 years old, decide to go and audition?
Yeah, that was the third time I auditioned for the X Factor. So every year previous to that. So that would have made me 16 when I first auditioned.
No, we knew about Liam's, who had gone on and came back again, but I didn't realize
he made progress through.
Yeah. I didn't realize Louis, this was just because, imagine if he's like, twice. Isn't that weird? If you decide, man, I didn't make it twice, and that's normal. That wouldn't be an absurd thing to think. Well, I tried it twice.
Yeah. I bet you there's a lot of people around him that was like, hey, you did good, right? Like,
you did fine.
You're good.
You're fine.
You're good. Hey, we need you down at the Quickie Mart to do some things.
There's an opening at the bakery. There's a guy named Harry who used to work there. You can.
There's like 3 producer auditions, and then you get to see Simon. It's the main one. And the first year I didn't get through any of them. The second year I got through the first round, and then for a final time I said to myself, well, I'm going to give this one more shot, because that was another thing at that age. It's one thing saying you're resilient, and I do think I am, but it's a lot easier to be resilient at that age as well. Definitely.
It's really surprising that someone would go to X Factor once, be rejected essentially, go again, not make it, and then go again without having their self-esteem or their confidence knocked to the point where they go, I'm not going to go through that again. Because every time you got to come home, you got to tell your friends and family it didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, the first year I can remember it being utterly crushing. Like, I'd not really had real rejection at that point. I hadn't really experienced that kind of thing. The second time I went was even more challenging, because I went with what I'll describe as like the hottest girl at school at the time, right? So she's also a singer. We got talking like months ago.
Toogs?
Turns out she wants to audition for the X Factor as well. I'm like, well, let's go together, thinking this could be like a smart little play. She goes before me, and I think at this point I feel like I was still in the queue, and she showed me that she got through to the next round. It was like a gold ticket. I then didn't get through, and then because I was with her, I was traveling with.
She's like, screw you, Louis, I'm a big time now.
I'm big time now. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. If she just stuck around with him, she could have been, I don't know.
With her, we then got ushered into a room of, say, 200 people, and every single person in the room had a yes. I remember that being really, really challenging. You're just surrounded by people that are dreaming, they're really, really excited about what does the next stage look like. And that created a bit more fire, I think. It was like, okay, how do I get on the right side of this next year? How do I be in this group of people next year?
Did your mum play a role in you going for that?
He, what do you call it? Visualized it, or...
But
that's important. Not everyone, and that's okay. That's his journey. Like, he's like, okay, I like how this feels. What do I have to do to get to the next step? So it was already a choice to do it a third time. So
yeah, I imagine that the X Factor journey makes that experience, especially the ability to visualize, a whole lot easier, right? Because we tend to, when we're on our own devices, on our own, it's up to you, and it's like, you have to be totally driven 100%, but there's a little bit of a safety net, not much, but with the X Factor, in that, hey, if I push myself hard, I could go to that next level, and then I'll actually get exposure, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Third year.
I can't remember specifically, but I would say if I would have had any level of doubt, 100%, the musical that you just referenced that I did at school, I didn't want to go to that audition, and she literally picked me up and drove me there, and I was so thankful that she did. She was often very, very good at, pushy parents are that's not good. She was never like that. She always had the right amount of force, because sometimes you need...
It's probably just encouragement / I don't want to tell you need to do this, but yeah, absolutely you should be doing this. Yeah, you've got, so it's that, right?
Yeah. That's a hard thing for a lot of parents to find. And I know I've struggled with it with my own kids.
Yeah. I struggle with you with the channel. I understand.
Oh, okay. This is a therapy session as well.
Okay. So Nathan, let's have a discussion, shall we? I'm the CEO director, and you are... So Nathan, when did you first discover Welp had changed your life?
That as a kid, and especially, actually, even as adults, in the situation where you're second guessing something, as soon as someone goes, go on, you can do it, you're okay. So I think that definitely played a big role in that. Even if I suggested that I wasn't going to go to this audition, throughout the year, she will have been giving me 100 different reasons to go. Now, not literally, but just from a confidence point of view, the way that she was talking to me, how she always just put me on this amazing pedestal. She made me feel like I could do anything, definitely. And I think that's great. That helps in those kind of situations, going for it for a third time, because my mum's saying I can do it, so maybe I can.
So you do the audition where you saying make you feel my love.
That was boot camp. So that was the second part of the audition. My first audition was a song called Hey There Delilah. Did nothing for me, like
Is that? Do I know that song? The Delilah.
Plain White Tees. Hey there, Delilah. Yeah, they're looking. They're so pretty. And then like, what's the chorus? It's what you do to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah, thank you.
What
yeah,
you do to me.
yeah. Okay, yeah. It's okay. Yep. Do we have footage of that? That'd be hilarious. All right.
Like obviously now I can say this because I've got a bit more experience, but as a young lad, you're not thinking about any of these things. It was just, I like that song, I'll sing that song. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And to the point where like, it still makes me deeply uncomfortable, like listening to or watching that audition. The only thing I'd done like this is the school production of Grease. And that was to about 250 people over 2 nights. And that felt like a fucking mountain of people.
Sure.
Cut to then your live TV audition at the MEN in Manchester, and there's 3,000 people in the audience. 3,000 people is a big gig for anyone to play, like full stop. Like if you do 3,000 tickets, you're doing really, really well. So like it's the definition of being thrown at the deep end. And I think that's part of what they want. Yeah. But it's not going to yield the best results from everyone. Some people it is, but I just remember feeling like a fucking deer in a headlights, like really, really shaky, like really, really, just felt really, really uncomfortable. I just wanted the ground to swallow me up. I'd never been in a situation where I was quite a confident young lad, so it wasn't very often I'd even been out of my comfort zone like that. And I just felt like a deer in the headlights, definitely.
Am I right in thinking that they probably had the idea to construct a band much sooner than...
They must have done. They must have done. Knowing Simon, I will have had these conversations with him in the past, but can't remember now. But knowing Simon, I think, you know what he's like, right? He will have had that in his mind for at least for the year before.
He loves a boy band as well. He's got a track record.
Yeah. They make him a lot of money.
And so you come third on the X Factor as a band when you're put together, and then you signed at 19 years old to Simon Cowell's Psycho Music. And it's crazy because when I think about you signing at 19 years old and I think about what happened in the preceding 5 or 6 years, I mean, it is crazy.
It's only now, outside of being in One Direction, that I actually have a little bit of a concept of what happened, and even, you know, the craziness of it, because nobody has any context to it before it happens. So we definitely, we felt like things were going really, really well. But we also, there will have been part of us, especially in that first year, of just assuming this is what, you know, success looks like. You know, a successful artist does these things. And the first moment that I remember distinctly, actually, that I realized that maybe this was bigger than, like, let's say, like the average thing at the time. We got booked on a support gig with a Disney band called Big Time Rush. And before that tour show, our manager, but our like senior manager, the kind of guy you only see, you know, like 6 gigs a year. And it just happens to be Vegas and LA and all the best places in the world, you know. And he sat us down. It was like this dressing down. And it was like, look, this is what you need to expect from a gig like this. I expect people to only know the singles. And even if they know the singles, you know, like that's a real win. They're not going to know the words to the album tracks. It's going to be a very, very different show to what you expected. So we're all ready to go out fighting because we'd not really had that at that point. We'd had most things that we'd done, we felt really confident doing. So like we were kind of going on the back foot. And then I can remember when we walked out on stage, and I think we opened with something that wasn't a single, and people were just locked in, like massively locked in. And it was really, really fucking loud in there. And I think that was a moment where I remember, again, I had this kind of side to me when I was younger. I was so excited to tell Richard, who was our manager at the time, I was so excited to tell him post-gig about how it actually went. Did you see it then? Because that was obviously not how it played out. And I remember feeling pretty smug about that. But I think it was once I kind of got to bed that evening, I was kind of thinking, I wasn't an overly deep thinker at that point, but I was still thinking occasionally on a deep level. And I'm looking at this music manager and I'm thinking, like, this guy's like uber experienced. Like, he's been in this situation countless times. So if he was to predict it wrong, like maybe he did, I'm like, well, maybe something is happening.
Interesting. Okay. So it's a bit of a story. We didn't pause it there, but so Too Long didn't read. So they were opening. They hadn't even released a new album yet. They didn't have an album out yet, but they were done with the X Factor. So this is the in between time. So he's kind of saying, "Look, you guys are on a, sure you're on a reality show. Blah blah blah. You're opening for different artists. Don't expect them to, So he's saying they go out there and they got an overwhelming response. And but so the manager wasn't wrong. He was just wrong about one direction.
Yeah.
Like his experience was like,
that's a pretty normal experience for new bands.
A new band.
Kind of like,
but that's why one direction is one direction. That's the anomaly. Is one direction is the anomaly. Like this is bigger than anyone had ever thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
So this music manager is like, oh yeah, you guys are a cute boy band. Yeah, okay. Well, go out there, have fun, but don't expect But I don't think anyone could have predicted the fandom that these boys started to create early.
How do you take care of yourself amongst that? Because, one of the things I've learned from doing this podcast is I've learned so much about the brain. I've learned so much about dopamine and sleep and circadian rhythms and all these things. And so when I fit that into the context of what your life was like at an age where these neuroscientists tell me that the male brain is still growing, it's still forming itself, you're putting this tremendous external pressure on it. You're like shocking it every night. I remember when I interviewed Liam, your former bandmate, him telling me that he would he remembers walking out on stage, and I think it was Dubai. There's like 100,000 people there.
Oh yeah.
And then thrown in, you probably remember the gig, like thrown into the taxi, taken back to the hotel room and locked in there. And he was like, I remember him saying to me, it was stage, car, hotel, locked. Stage, car, hotel, locked. Like, fuck.
I would say that the way that we both handled it, me and Liam, was quite different. I think that's often why I had a good relationship with Zane from early on, because neither of us are kind of rule abiding, and not in a way that's like utterly disruptive. It's just we have our own ideas, and that at least alleviated a little bit of the pressure, knowing that deep down, if I wanted to just go and do something, I would genuinely just go and do it. Whereas I think Liam and the other boys, actually, to a degree, there was an element of a little bit of fear, I think, and also Liam had, he'd worked so hard from the age of 14 to get there. Liam's journey was a lot different to mine. I just felt like a happy-go-lucky guy who won the lottery, like, whereas Liam was very, very precise and deliberate, and he got there for all his hard work. So I think we also came from a slightly different point of view. Another benefit that
again, I'm not a psychologist or therapist, but I wonder, oh, you're probably going to say the same thing I'm going to say. I wonder if Liam's rigidness that we even saw with the X Factor days, and then when he was sort of let free, the breaking was bigger, meaning like,
I wasn't going to say that.
Because like Louis and Zane, they kind of inoculated themselves a little bit with the rebelliousness. We're not going to quite follow that rule. So when they went solo, they were already kind of inoculated to the wildlife, where it wasn't such a big, we're out of our cage. But Liam gets out of his cage and he's listless, a little bit more listless, because he was so rigid into a structured way of being that when the handlers kind of unhandled him, he might have been more listless. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think that Liam's experience was a lot more, because he was more of the, I wouldn't say rule follower per se, but the way that
professional.
The way Louis is explaining it. Yeah, he wanted to kind of follow the trajectory that you're supposed to go on, the supposed to route. Whereas I get from here, Louis and Zane, I wouldn't have guessed Zane. I would have guessed Zane more like Louis, but that they're more wanderers. Like, and they're totally fine with that. That yes, they told them they're supposed to stay in their hotel, but they're like, do we really have to? Like, that's not
right.
Someone going to shoot us if we, like that kind of idea that there are still potential to do things. And I can see that you're right. I think when they split, that really crushed Liam more than anyone, because there was this direction. Things were, sorry for the pun, but that they were headed in one direction, ironically, and each of them went their separate directions.
Yeah, that was not a bad pun at all. It was fine. It was good. I didn't have anything.
I had during that time, and I still have, is I'm not a dweller. Like I'm an overthinker for sure, but I wouldn't say like I'm a dweller. So I wouldn't use this phrase with me very often, but like there's definitely an element of ignorance is bliss during that whole time.
I find it so fascinating that you talk about this idea of you having the minerals or the personality where you would push back against the system a little bit. Because when I spoke to your former cameraman and videographer, he said that you were the one in the group that stood up against the label. So you'd be the one to turn around to the record label and say, we need a day off. And it's interesting again, because I was, one of the things I learned from doing this podcast is this idea of like learned helplessness and control and autonomy. Basically, TLDR is, it says that people who feel like they have control.
He did a TLDR like I did. He just did TLDR. I said TLDR. TLDR is just a way of saying too long didn't read, so you're summarizing.
Oh yes, I see.
So I used the TLDR just like 3 minutes ago, and he just did it. Hey, me and Steven. Yeah, I'm just as successful as No. Anyways,
have much better physiological health outcomes. They have less stress. They're more insulated, better psychological states, less anxiety, less depression, because they feel like they're in control of the situation. Yeah. So there's this crazy study that I was reading about when I was writing my last book about these rats, where they learn that they can't do anything about the situation, and they basically give up and they become submissive and they stop trying. And I think about this in the context of humans as well. And you're from what your videographer told me, Cam, you were clearly not that. You were clearly someone that would push against Simon Cowell's record label as a young man.
Yeah, and that's something I've had a few conversations with my friends, similar things about this, and I'm not certain where that was like inspired by, because it's brave, right? To stare someone who at the time, at least in pop, was one of the most successful people in the music industry and say, no, you've got it wrong. Here's me, an 18-year-old with no experience, telling you've got it wrong. I think what gave me confidence in those ideas is, even if it wasn't a collective voice, even if it was just my voice delivering the message, it was always with collective intention. It would always be for the good of all of us. Making those decisions now on my own, they're not quite as easy. There's a lot of different kind of things at play, but and again, it kind of comes from that big brother kind of role again. I was the oldest in the band.
I was just going to say.
It was kind of my role in the band, I think, to kind of to do that. And I realized that by far I was the most opinionated in the band, definitely. So I think I wanted to use that for good and not just chatting shit about someone on Twitter or something.
He was the most opinionated. I don't know if I would have, if they did it like, who was the most opinionated in One Direction? Go. He feels he was. I don't know if I would have chosen Louis first. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have picked Niall as being opinionated. I might have gone with Harry, but Harry's sometimes a hard read. He's like a wonderful person, but there's occasions when I'm kind of like, oh, I totally misread this. But I would have thought maybe Zayn was the most opinionated. So yeah, that's news to me.
But again, that's just Louis saying that he is. Doesn't mean he is. But Marianne is saying that he pushed for more creative control for the band. Oh, speaking of Marianne, I believe this is the same. I apologize, Marianne.
Oh yeah,
I know I'm an idiot. This is mid video, but you know what? We'll make sure we credit at the end as well. We want to make sure everyone thanks Marianne, who spearheaded the group funding for us to do this whole reaction to this interview. So Marianne, everyone thank Marianne for spearheading this. She was able to get funds from the following: Diana, JML 777, Celeste, ML, Aaliyah, Stephanie, Welper, of course, and Dev, and Marianne herself. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that is great. Thanks, Marianne.
Everyone who supported, and those who spiritually support, and those who are on our Patreon right now, live watching us. If you want to be a Patreon, dear YouTubers, you can be here a part of, like, we're showing comments. Those are our patrons watching us do this live. Like, this is how professional. Like, even Steven doesn't have a live audience watching him. He gets to edit and make himself sound so smart. Not us. We're naturally stupid. We don't have anyone editing us. Okay, yeah, let's do thanks. Yeah, okay, there. Yeah, okay, let's prove to YouTube that everyone's here. Okay. Let's here. Oh, Patty just let's do Patty now. Oh, we got Nina. There you go, Nina. That's right. The lovely, gorgeous creation, Nina.
Another important distinction about One Direction is this is not like disrespectful to Ed. Like, I appreciate I was in a boy band. I know that, right? But like, if there would be like one genre of music that I would think might be the most naff, it's boy band, if you could call that a genre. So going into One Direction when I was 18, you know, growing up in the north of England, it's like real. It's kind of like snobby musically, you know, there's like real music and then there's boy bands, you know, so having that kind of feeling going into it, it was that was why it was easy to kind of push against some of these old school ideas, because they were the ideas that the reasons I didn't like these bands is because they all looked the same and because they all felt very kind of PR pressed, you know. It was always a really interesting project for me to try and to look at One Direction and think, well, how could we make this a little cooler? I remember.
Okay, that's fair. And that's probably why when we were first given One Direction so many years ago by our Lord and Brian Lord, everyone thank Brian Lord. Brian Lord is, if anyone wants to thank anyone, it's Mr.
If you want to like
Lord. Connect
the dots back to why we're watching this right now, it's Brian Lord.
Yeah. Brian Lord. So you and I, when we started One Direction, I remember thinking, oh, they're not as... I was thinking of Backstreet Boys. No offense, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but I was thinking Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. You know they all dress the same, dance in unison. And look, I get their huge hits, multi-million. I'm not disparaging their success, but there's a part of me that, like he's saying here, was a genre. It was a genre of expectations. And I admit, so when I watched One Direction, that's the first thing we said. Like, they don't dance. They kind of fumble around on stage. They'll have their own unique personalities, and
they make fun of themselves.
Yeah, the songs were good. So I think that was key. I think that the fact that they actually seemed like unique personalities, and we got their personalities right away. And they were good at what they did too. And so anyways, I think we have Louis to thank, maybe a large part of him wanting to see that in the band, right?
Yeah, and kind of pushing back against what everyone else wanted them to do. I wonder if Liam was kind of pushing more for like, hey, we're a boy band now, so you know we got to kind of be more like a boy band. I wonder. I don't know if that's true.
I wonder. Yeah. I could put this way. We could be speaking for Liam. Obviously, rest in peace to the great Liam. But I wonder if, let's say, the PR machine who wanted another NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, if they pushed that, I wonder if Liam would have been cool with that. Like, I hate to say it, like, I wonder if he would, sure, let's do it that way. Like, I wonder if he was a little bit more of a company man, which isn't a slight. It's just, I wonder if he was more of a company man that way. Okay.
The real turning point in One Direction was when we put up the pre-order for our first single, What Makes You Beautiful. I can't remember the number of how much we sold that week, but we broke some record, right, at the pre-order, and we got told this, and we'd not released any music at this point. And I remember thinking, that's fascinating, because they don't know what it's going to sound like yet. But they're invested. That felt like power early on. And it also felt like...
Well, that was your hint with the concert that you went to. Is you already had fans who loved you before you released anything. So there you go. A sign of things to come.
Yeah.
That we could rewrite the rule book, because people were invested in us as much, if not more, than the music.
Sorry. Investigated who? That was awesome. I don't think I've heard that deep before. Have you? Investigated. How do you say that again? You do it. You're better than I am.
Investigated us.
That was awesome. That was a deep accent there. I love it.
I think that's fair to say.
Was there a part in the evolution and the journey of One Direction where you had that moment where you go, there's elements of my life that I love that I no longer have access to because of this success?
I would say that it's more gradual than that, really. You know, you start to lose some of your own independence to a degree. And then I think also the age I was, right? So like I was 18 when I first joined the band. And I always say this, that year of my life before I auditioned for the X Factor, at least up to those 18 years was the best year of my life. You know, you've got independence at that point. I was driving, you could go out. Like it was so fascinating socially. There's always something to do. So to leave that behind was quite gutting, actually. That took me a second to get used to it first. Now I always felt
quite what? Gutting?
Gutting.
Oh, I thought he was like saying it was quite gotten, like gotten,
no.
Gottem, like
gutting. Got it, like he's gutting him. Yeah,
yeah, I love it. Holy smokes!
And again, to Louis' credit, this isn't an accent he's ever changed. He even keeps it in the music. Like
you hear the singing. Yeah,
there's a lot of singers that switch for music, and then they keep their accent for speaking, but he keeps it in both. And that's, I'm sure that's at everyone's request. Like, oh, you could probably sing it a little more like gutting, you know.
He's like, no, I'm just gutting started. I don't know. I would say this is what makes him beautiful. This is why we love Louis. He's just always Louis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Incredibly grateful and really excited every time I was doing something with One Direction, but any kind of time for reflection, I was really, really missing home. Like me and Zayn would, when we were younger, we had countless conversations of like, you know, should we just pack it in? Should we just call it a day?
Why?
Because you feel alienated. You've got, you are living this lifestyle that, and there's a million different reasons, right? But like the fame thing's really difficult. And mostly for me, it was about being alienated. And I can't, like any of my life experience was now not so relevant to some of my friends, you know? And I think that also I think this is part of growing up in a working class town, but I have this like guilt for the success and money that I've earned as well. And I think that also is kind of part of the same thing. I think for,
if we ever get rich, I'll never feel guilty.
I
noticed.
I identify with this. I totally identify with this. Not that we're rich, but I sometimes I'm like, wait, people are paying us for this stuff? Like,
oh man, that's interesting. Yeah, because people are paying him to sing and buy his records. He's rich because of what the public gave him money, right? In that sense, like with record sales, concert sales, merchandise. You're right. So to a degree, I know what you're saying. When people like who paid for this reaction, you and I have talked about it, where it's like, put it this way: when we first set up a Patreon, real quick aside, I told you no one's going to pay us anything because A, who are we? But B, but then like because money's valuable, right? And so we try to take that very seriously when we do our reactions because we don't ever take it lightly that someone worked for that. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. Money's tough.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, Monday will be rich, Nathan. One day will be rich and powerful. Oh, the glory. Okay, let's go back to Louis here.
I'm visualizing that right now.
Yeah, the glory. We deserve it so much.
It's kind of like two different things. The fame thing, I'll never be okay with. Like if I of course every artist says this, but if I could just do the music, you know, amazing. That would be amazing. I suppose I could on a lower level, but I wouldn't get the same rush that I do. No, I think it's almost it's almost everything else that comes with that.
It's interesting when someone says they felt isolated, which is something I've had a lot from people who've had great public success where they've got a big fan base, because we think of like isolation as not being around people. But I guess isolation in the context you describe it is more about connecting to people, relatability.
Yeah, but it's also like the metaphor would be like, what's that really famous crossing in Japan? If you took a drone shot and you pulled right out from that and you would just become a little dot amongst the noise. Sometimes that's kind of how it feels, because also it's not the real world. You know, the even in the way that people perceive you is not the real world. The first moment that One Direction got, the first big pay packet was a merchandise deal that we got, and we always did really good merch.
How old were you?
19. That was the first kind of moment where I felt really, really excited. And so I rang my mum straight away and, you know, told her about it like I always would. And she was really excited for me. And obviously she's just proud. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
And then I remembered the feeling of, but who else do I tell now? Because, like, do I call up Nizam and tell him? Well, he'll be into that and he'll be really proud of me. But bear in mind, he's just seen me on the X Factor. And this is another thing I realized about people is they think if you're successful, then everything is just, successful and that's how it goes. So I think, if I didn't call Nizam, but if I had called him, he probably would have been really nice. But in his head would have shrugged his shoulders like, well, obviously, things are going really well for you. So I think there's definitely a lack of like understanding there, rightly so. There's also a guilt, especially at that age. People like life's really, really expensive at that age. People are like up to their eyes in student loans. It was only about 2 years ago that I put all the plaques up on my wall at home and my awards, like the Brit Awards and stuff that I got in the past from the band. They still annoy me even now in my lounge. Because like if I'm having a conversation with someone, I don't even really want, like I want to just be me. I don't want to be that guy that won those awards. Like we can be and we can conversate like that. But truthfully, like if Nizam came over to my house for like a chat and a coffee, I would hate that the conversation might end up then gravitating to me or my success. It's much more about just what those relationships and conversations look like in the real world. That's what I'm craving, is that real normality. All I want is to just be on an even playing field with everyone in any kind of conversation. I think.
Yeah, which that's why he is a grounded person in general. Like, he is famous. He is, he's wealthy compared to us little peons. So he has those things. He has opportunity. He certainly has adoration thrown at him. It's a byproduct of being a celebrity and being him. But what keeps him grounded though is he still projects like, we're just people on the planet and we're talking. I want to converse with you as a person, not what can you give me? How can you enrich me? How can you, those are my awards because I'm important. It's a fine line as a celebrity like Louis. And what I love about him is that he recognizes, of course, objectively, he recognizes, yes, I am a famous person. I'm on this, podcast, a very famous podcast because I'm a famous, like you and I would never be interviewed by Stephen, for example, but Louis would. There's a level of playing field that he has to live in, or else, like he said, by his own admission, he also likes the rush of the cheering crowd. Who wouldn't? There's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes it exciting. Yeah. That's what makes it exciting. So anyways, it's
very telling. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to cap it off. That's what we love about Louis, is that he's grounded. You can see that he's really trying to say, I do like just talking to people. I'm just Louis. He's really trying to not convince us, but really let the world know that I'm still just Louis.
I feel like what he just said is sort of like the thesis of his essay, of his life, of who he is, right? All I'm trying to be is on an even playing field with the person I'm talking to. So like whether it's he feels like inferior or superior, he wants to try and like even the odds so that that's an actual conversation instead of like a, getting manipulated kind of thing, where he doesn't know what the person's trying to do, or vice versa, where he might know a lot more than they do and he could very easily manipulate the situation. So he wants it to stay even. I think that's fascinating. It's a great like general philosophy of life, really.
No, it's great.
I think that was the toughest thing to deal with, is just the lack of normality in every sense of the word.
How does things like alcohol play into this? Because you're living a crazy, crazy life where your dopamine and your brain is being tested in all different ways. I remember Liam saying to me, this is really when he started to have a problem with alcohol in the early years of the band. And I'll never forget it, him talking to me about the mini bar in the room. Like one of the things I didn't realize is, okay, you've just been out on stage in front of 100,000 people. Then you're back in a hotel room with a mini bar.
I feel the pull from alcohol, and I definitely drank quite a bit when I was in the band. But I think an important distinction post-show would be I'd smoke my weed. I'd go back to my tour bus and I'd go and smoke my weed, and Zane would smoke with me too. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. I'm sure he won't. And that was great. And actually, like, people do things for different reasons. And
yeah, I'm not going to advocate one way or the other, blah, blah, blah. But just objectively speaking, weed does have a different effect than alcohol on the body.
Yeah.
You hear very few people go off the deep end because they're like having a mellow time on weed. Like this way. I have a friend who's a police officer, and I asked him, like, I said to him, I said, have you ever done domestic violence calls because someone's on alcohol? He goes, oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I said, have you ever had a domestic violence call because of weed? He goes, not once.
Not once. Yeah.
Not once. He's 25-year police officer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I look at the difference between those two as like the one can make you depressed and then potentially violent. The other can make you kind of lazy and not care.
Lethargic.
Yeah. Neither are great, but of those two, I'll take the lazy and lethargic over,
that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, still, you're not supposed to drive under the influence of weed, folks. That's still against the law.
Yeah, you're lethargic.
Yeah, you're too lethargic at the wheel. But the point is, yeah, unfortunately, you can do more erratic behavior drunk than yeah.
That was my vice. That was my choice. Now, the reason why that kind of suited my brain at that time was I've just had all this noise in my head. I've just had this crazy experience on stage, and that's the noise that you kind of need to quiet down sometimes. So what we would do is we'd get back on the tour bus, we'd play Call of Duty Zombies, we'd smoke our weed, and like that's all we'd think about, and that's all we'd do. And then we'd get into cliche stoner chats of deep conversation, probably UFOs, all that kind of shit. And as daft as that might look and feel, it's our normality. It's creating the normality on tour. It's a version of what our friends were doing back home as well.
Sure.
But also it was such a lovely way to kind of debrief from those moments.
Smoke me weed and Call of Duty Zombie. My kids played that. My older boys, they were in their 12. Well, I guess just a little bit younger than Louis is now by 5 odd years or so. But anyways, they played Call of Duty Zombies all the time. They were obsessed with that as young teenagers.
Away from the manicness, you've just got this kind of really subdued, nice environment. The juxtaposition actually felt quite nice.
If you could go back to the day that you signed the contract with Psycho, what is the advice that 33-year-old Louis would give 18, 19-year-old Louis?
That is a really, really big question. I think I would say to be confident in the earlier years, because the older I get, the more I realize most people in their earlier years of doing said thing are to a degree faking it. And I think for a long time, I was just thinking, well, I didn't spend my life as a young lad thinking I was going to be a singer, so I'm playing catch up and all of those things. And there's another thing I'm more than comfortable enough to say. I'm not the best singer in the world. I'm okay with that, right? But like
Whoa.
I love that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just processing because okay, sorry. I'll be quick. I know. We've mentioned on our videos and being both a fan of Louis and loving him, but also being objective reactors. Sometimes we just have to say what we hear. And I think it was one of our later videos we did of Louis' live performance. We just said, like, I don't need him to be, the male version of Celine Dion or whatever that is, right?
Right.
I that's not what I'm asking of Louis. That's not what made me a fan of Louis. And if someone who listens to music, they only desire perfect vocals from their performers, there are performers who perform, I guess, classically. They're just amazing at singing. But what makes a star is the X factor. That's meaning it's not just the ability to sing. It's not just how you look. It's not just how you have to have the X factor. And so Louis is a great example of the X factor, where I don't think people are going to a show because he's got the greatest voice, but he's got fun songs. He's a great personality. He has a great band. And we've talked about so it's all those things combined probably puts on a very fun show that we hope to see one day. Nathan.
No, I think you basically took what I was going to say there. Him admitting that and saying that confirms what I think we already knew, that he's very aware of that. And the fact that he says that I'm okay with it. That he's not going like, oh, I wish I was a better singer, all this, and then like getting in your head about it. And then that comes out on stage, or it comes out in other ways. Him going, you know what? I am who I am, and this is how I sing, and that's how it's going to be. Like, there's no additional ... there. Yeah, that's a fascinating approach. And
I don't know if that was in the trailer. See, if that part was in the trailer, that would have bugged me. I'm glad I got to see that. See, this is why I want to see things. I want those what do you call those sound bites? I want to react to them live, not with the trailer.
Yes, yeah.
That's a good soundbite. See, if I was a trailer editor, I would put that in the sound. I admit, I'd be like, you got to put that in.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Get that one there.
It was definitely a time where those things were challenging as a young lad. And I think I would just cut myself a bit of slack as a young lad, because it's been a lot of my defiance and decision making that's got me to where I've got. And that should give you confidence. So I think as a young lad, I did really just felt like a deer in the headlights, and didn't really have any kind of context what was going on. And I think when I'm talking about these things, I'm not talking about, no, we're not going to do this Disney performance because I don't think it looks good for One Direction. I'm talking about more like introspective, personal worth within the band, or those kind of things. I really, really struggled with that as a young lad, big time. So I would say I would give myself a bit more credit there.
You really struggled with that.
I found it really tough. So like as I said before, like I was the kid who won the lottery. Like I sang my first audition for the X Factor. I didn't feel like I did a good job. Was really surprised that I got the 3 yeses. Now that was maybe 4 months before the first auditions air. So I've told everyone at this point, obviously. I'm in a band, I'm on the X Factor, and I have told anyone that will listen, like everyone. And actually neither me nor Niall got any TV time on our audition. So the irony is we get put in this band, but people have no idea we are. Like there's no context for the viewers to actually see this and actually really care. I felt like I was playing catch up from that moment in. I remember this like really like real naff thing, typical X Factor thing. We went filming for the judges' houses, which is the stage. You have the auditions, then boot camp, judges' houses, live shows. And we went filming for judges' houses. And I was already questioning. I wasn't really singing at all. I had not had like any individual thing to sing. It was all like harmony stuff.
Oh, wow. We're getting a lot of stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
This is stuff which I like that we on our own. I mean, not like we're so smart, but I like that we on our own through our journey. We picked that stuff out when we did the X Factor journey on our YouTube. We did the whole One Direction X Factor journey. We'd often comment, "Where's Niall? Louis? What do you think of Niall's performance? What do you think of Louis' performance?" And he's saying, "We're gonna go out on stage and go on these tours, and nobody really knows who me and Niall are."
Yeah, because they didn't really film them.
Yeah.
And I got stung by a sea urchin, right? Random story. My foot blew up like an elephant.
Oh.
And we had to film all this. You know what X Factor's like, right? We had to film all this Jeopardy. This like, how will the boys audition without Louis? It was awful. It was awful because there was no credibility to that statement. The boys could have auditioned straight away. At that point, I was doing a lower harmony, and I would be shocked if anyone could even hear me in the mix at that point. So that was really challenging where, you know, I'm already starting to feel those things, and then you get something like that that's quite literal, and they're trying to sell this Jeopardy. And I remember thinking, I wanted to do more. I just didn't know how to do that. Again, there's no context. I thought I was a good singer before I went on the X Factor. Then I get through the audition. They put me through. I'm like, okay, well, I must be all right. Then they don't show the TV audition. You're like, oh, maybe that's like a personality thing. Or I don't know, maybe it is my voice. And there's a lot of, especially as a young lad.
What's that?
Well, there's a lot. I think what he's about to say, there's a lot of like orchestrating it and like trying to make it just right and perfect and using just the ones that they want. And I think that's where he's going with this.
Well, it's also interesting hearing the human part of it. Here's Louis, he's a human. Like I'm a person. I'm not a TV producer. I'm not a CEO of a broadcast company. So he's the byproduct in that. How should I say this? Like, it's a cold business. Not that it's a mean business necessarily, but they will make the cuts that they want to make, the edits they want to make. They have a story they want to tell as a entertainment show, but he's the cutting room floor, so to speak. That's the human element of like, oh, I guess I'm deleted scene footage type person. So it's a weird how don't take it personally, but so and so might be cut off. You know, the movie, the TV show, that happens. That actually happens. You'll do like, I filmed 2 minutes of such and such movie, and you go to the premiere and you're cut out. Yeah. You know, like that happens a lot where they bring their family to the premiere and like, oh, I guess my scene got deleted. So. Yeah.
In this situation, there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Did you ever ask those questions?
Did I ever ask him why I was in that band? No, I would love to though. I would have loved to. But do you know why I would never with him? Simon would probably, Simon was always very brilliant at making me feel, like worthy in the band. But as you said before, like I was often a voice between the band and the label. He was the label. Well, he put me on side, and that's a smart move, isn't it? One thing he would always do, Stephen, is he would always say my name. Now, when you're a 19-year-old lad and Simon Cowell says, do you know what the thing is about that idea, Louis? You are empowered. Now, we like people using our names.
That's a great social skill. I mean, Simon's not an idiot. That's a great how to influence people skill is to not only remember their name, but to say their name in a conversation. Like try it for fun. Next time you talk to someone, say their name. Think about your own spouse. How often does your spouse actually say your name?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not a criticism. This is for me too. But every now and then Becky will say my name. I was like, oh, it's funny how the trigger, even to someone you're married to have your name, usually it's not, I don't mean an anger, Ryan, it's an anger, no.
Yeah, not trigger in a triggered way. Like
no, it elicits a response from you. Yeah. But that's a real thing. So that's what Louis is saying. Simon would say, hey, you know, Louis. So that's actually a great social skill. Try it at work, folks. Try it, just see how it works. You'll see that the person you're talking to perks up when you say their name. Isn't that right, Nathan?
It's, he knows that I'm here.
All right, stop it.
That's great.
Now imagine that Simon Cowell and you're 19 years old. There is a spell that comes with that, and there's a power that comes with that. And I think for a long time I kind of fell for all those kind of ideas. Now I think Simon again is an interesting person. He is a brilliant businessman.
Sure. Yeah.
Now I learned a lot from him. I still deeply respect him. And I was in awe of him as a young lad. I love to be around him. I love to listen.
Sorry?
There's a butt coming.
Well, it might not come, but it's there in the context of like, he's a great business person. I still respect. Do you say I still respect? Like,
I still respect him.
I still respect him. So there's something that happened where maybe the loss of respect occurred. You're right. He might get into the story, but if he doesn't get into an actual example, you're hearing it between the lines of the dialogue. Like, he doesn't have his full respect.
Yeah.
I was in awe of him. I agree, Liam. That's that's right. Oh, Simon went on this podcast and told Stephen that his only regret from One Direction is letting them own their own name because he could still make money. Now, I haven't seen the interview, but I hope Simon was joking, not joking. Like, that's probably a true statement, but I'm hoping he said it with a laugh, if that makes sense. Like, I hope he wasn't like serious, but serious enough that he brought it up, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's fun. That's funny. Okay.
To him make decisions and all of that. And I thought he was definitely brilliant at that time. He built me up on a pedestal to the point where I thought that it would actually have a real world meaning, not just a thanks darling kind of vibe.
When did you realize that it didn't?
When I joined Psycho on my own.
So this is after the band. So
the band split.
So is that the name of the label he was on called Psycho? I mean, okay. So that's so he joins his record label. It's not Simon's, and Simon gets his hair bristles. Okay. Remember Psycho Michael growing up?
Yeah.
Sorry. Total inside joke, folks. I'm sorry.
And now I didn't have my pick of record labels. It was never like that. But even if I could have had 10 offers on the table. Let's just assume they're all the same money. I would have picked Simon always because, like, again, a little bit like the north of England.
Simon is Psycho. That is Simon's record label. Okay, so he's saying he would have chosen Simon's regardless. So thank you for that context, Jen. Okay, so Simon owes that company. Okay, fair enough. Okay,
and loyalty is like a really important currency. It really is in these kind of, working class places. It's really, really vital. And I think, like, for me, that always meant a lot to me. So I thought, well, I'd heard that some of the other boys were thinking about going to other labels, they were right to. And I found out I was the only one that was going to stay with him. And that just motivated me more. So all the other boys went and joined different record labels. Some of them not even within labels that were in Sony, which Psycho was part of.
I see.
I remember thinking, oh, wow, this is it's amazing for me, actually, that all the boys have done that. Because, look how good this makes me look to Simon. I look really loyal. And some of it was, deliberate, but mostly that's just how I am as a person. I would rather just keep the happy family kind of vibe. That suits me.
One of the things people don't talk about is the impact that your success has on everyone else back in Doncaster, including your mum. I spoke to your sister, Lottie, my team did, and I was listening to the recordings, and she said that it was especially hard for your mum because you leave home suddenly at 18 years old, and from everything you've described, you're more than just a kid to her. You were, in some respects, a partner in raising the family.
And best mates as well, man. Yeah, definitely.
Did she ever speak to you about the impact it had on her, all of that?
Checks off his list of things he talked about. He's a little. What kind of fancy shenanigans is he doing down there? What does his iPad look like, or whatever he's down there?
It's funny that Louis just is like that's like a matter of fact. It's not like oh yeah, I guess you could call me that. He's just like, yep, they're my mates. Just it's nothing. I think that happens more often than we realize in working class families, right? Where we assume that oh, look, it's a single parent home, and oh, it's they're doomed to fail. That kind of a approach to things. When in fact, yes, it's not ideal, but people step up. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
That's something that I remember really clearly. And she used to do the university analogy. And she used to say, I knew you were going to leave home at some point, but I had at least a time scale to that. I could work towards in my head, okay, in 3 months' time, he's going to leave for uni, and that's that. One Direction never happened like that. It all ran away with itself. So I think it felt like we all blinked, and before we knew it, I was no longer living at home. So my mum had no time to even grieve the idea of and just for context, I mentioned this I made a film and documentary, and it kind of sums up me and my mum's relationship perfectly. The first person I told when I lost my virginity was my mum.
Wow. What about you, Nathan? Is that what you... Hey, Mom, guess what? Guess what? It was amazing. That's a close... I mean, see, I think I've mentioned this before in our 500 episodes of doing this, thousands of episodes doing this, or videos, I should say, where I admire Louis's relationship with his mother. That's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's unique, and I think it is unique. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I know you love your mom.
Anyone.
Yeah, I know your mom, and I love your mom, and I know your relationship with her to a certain degree. I was saying with my parents, I love my mom. I love her very much, But this is a different level, and I'm not talking about anything creepy or anything like that. I'm not even making any jokes. I'm just saying this is just a different type of connection that I admire. It how lucky for Louis, because I would never tell my mom. I don't think I've told my mom anything like that, intimate like that, or private, or any kind of So, but that's really a unique and special relationship they had. That he was able to be. That there's no weirdness. Mom, I've had a great time for my first, whatever that is. He shared the news with his mom. It's unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe guys do that. I don't know. Maybe you and I are the only ones who didn't tell their mom. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't think guys typically do, but to each their own. I think there's certainly opportunities for young men to tell their moms a lot more, I would say, these days than there were
probably when our generation, a little bit different. You're right. Yeah.
Like I was, as if I was telling like one of my lad mates, I was just, and I wasn't telling her for any other reason other than show off and be like, guess what happened today? and that we definitely had that kind of energy together. You know, I always saw her more as a best friend than anything else. And especially because I was her first, she had me when she was 19. We spent the first few years together without a male role model. So it was a little deeper than your average, you know, son and mother situation. So I think it really hit my mum like a ton of bricks. If I had my time again, I would have been more present and aware of those kind of ideas. Yeah. And here's a story actually. I've never told Daisy and Phoebe this. Daisy and Phoebe are two of my sisters who are identical twins. And they're about 4 or 5 years younger than Lottie, so they're about 21. Now, I could always tell them apart perfectly, but they look utterly identical, these two, especially when they were really young. And I can remember the more time I spent at the band, the more time I spent away from home. I wasn't confident enough to use their name to them. You know, it would be always like, oh, babe, or like, you know, something that way I wouldn't have to mention the name because I wasn't certain who was who. These are two sisters that I spent my life with and grew up with. But I think shows just how little I was at home. And if my mom...
Oh, wow. So he's gone enough that he lost track.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a huge admission. And that's very identical looking too. That even he was like, hey there, sweetie.
Hey there.
Where's your sister? Where's your sister at? Where's she at? Oh, my sister. No, her name. Where's she at? What's your sister up to right now? What? Yeah, interesting. Wow, that's a fascinating piece of information.
My mum would come out to see me, which was great, but the kids were at school and stuff like that. So there was a long time for those 5 years we're in the band, a long time spent not spending enough time with family. Yeah. And that I would say that was 85% the job and the situation and One Direction and stuff. And then 15% me too. Like I could definitely have done more like that. But you know, when you live in a life like we did in One Direction, free time is so competitive. And when you're young, you're not smart enough to realize the value of this family time.
And you were on an absolute rocket ship.
I have a insight that I think is probably applicable here, because I don't know how like this is Louis' version of how things went. He's saying 20% was kind of the situation, and then 80% was his fault, because of being involved and stuff. But I would dare say that everyone around Louis went the other way and said like, no, we were so proud of Louis. We were glad that he was doing what he's doing. Sure. Right. It sucked that he couldn't be with us, but it didn't matter because this is like, you know what I mean? Like, right. That's like, that's what happens around, family members that end up getting these kinds of opportunities. And yeah, without getting too deep into things, right. Within my own family, this is kind of a thing. Not with me, that's for sure. But like, like we all support one of our members who ends up getting, a little bit of press and exposure. And, but he, like, I'm giving it away, but I'll just say it's my brother who he gets, puts a lot of pressure on himself and kind of blames himself for all this stuff. And it's like, no, we're always like, no, do your thing, man. Like we support you. It's I know you're busy and all that stuff. It takes up a lot of your time, but it is what it is, and you're a better person for it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, to me, Nathan, you're the celebrity in my life from your family.
Well, you're the only one that matters to me.
I love you, man.
I love you, man.
Up until you must have been 23, 24 years old when the band announces that it's breaking apart. So in March that year, Zayn says he wants to leave to have a normal 22-year-old's life, which shocked the world. How do you reflect on Zayn's decision now? Because were you pissed off at the time that he was breaking things up, or?
I was fuming.
Really?
I was, again, it's not something we've discussed enough yet, but me and Zayn, but again, it comes back to like loyalty for me. And I just, selfishly, I'd wished he'd had a conversation with me first. Because me and Zayn, I'd like to think that he would say this too. I think he would. There was times where like we were like, let's put it like this is a good way of describing it. On the last tour that Zayn did, we always said we would never be this band, the type of band that would have all their own individual dressing rooms. Well, sometimes when you've got a lot of guests and stuff, it can be challenging, but we always said we wouldn't be that band. And on the last tour Zayn did, Harry had his own dressing room, Liam did, Niall did, and me and Zayn shared. So I think I kind of like testament of the relationship. So I felt a little bit hard done by. I felt like not like throw these boys under the bus, but let me know. But I just a little bit. I thought that we had a relationship where he could have had that conversation with me. In reflection, and he hasn't told me this, we'll see.
But before he says his answer, I'm going to speculate. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
I think by not telling Louis, it protects Louis.
Right.
Yeah, and also because then Zayn's leaving. Zayn's also not telling all the other guys. Like I'm not like it's either he tells them all or not, none of them essentially. So it's a way of like it's either one or all. So he just decided I'm not telling anyone the way Louis thought it should have happened. But you're all going to find out the same way. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if it's a bit of a protection for Louis. I wonder if he's going to say something to that effect. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. But I guess I keep on thinking that, like, isn't there an upcoming collaboration between these two?
Yeah, well, they're fine now, and that's the beauty of this. Yeah, they're doing like a 3-part documentary on Netflix, apparently, like a 3-episode thing, majiggy. Yes, we hope we get to react to that. But
yeah, so I wonder if it's kind of the setup for this. Like he's kind of like setting up. He's telling the story, which I love that he's getting into this story because there's been a lot of the speculation that gets thrown around about. Oh, was he mad or was he not? Like, I know that most people agree that he was mad, and this confirms it, obviously. But giving the reasons for why is fascinating. And I think you're right. I think he is going to talk about in an attempt to like protect him. Yeah.
Now, remember, folks, dear watchers, watch us live on our Patreon right now. Not that you did anyone right now, but just remember, if Nathan and I speculate or ask questions, just pretend you're not here. Don't answer them for us. We'll let us find out. Okay.
Yeah.
When I chat to him about it, but I think if he told me, I would have tried to tell him to stay, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't, because he knew I was always very opinionated.
So how did you find out?
That evening.
Okay. So that's interesting. Maybe he didn't want to be convinced, so by telling, maybe he would have like, fine, I'll stay. So it's a way of like
Louis was good at bringing him back,
right? So it's like I've got to go. If I tell Louis, he's gonna. I might listen. I don't want. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, he really knew he wanted to leave, but he didn't want to be convinced to stay. I see. Okay, right. Because he loved Louis in that sense. He what could convince him it would be Louis, and he wanted to leave. So yeah, I got you.
Night before we found out, everything was normal. We're in the hotel room. We were somewhere, I don't know where, somewhere in the world, maybe where weed isn't legal, but we were having a joint, and everything was normal, you know. And then I think he maybe left at like 11. He was cool, wasn't like in a bad mood or anything like that, you know, good night, lad. And then next morning I woke up, we had a shoot with like Coca-Cola for some sponsor thing. And we found out that he wasn't coming. Now, like I had this in me too, but like Zayn was quite prolific for it. Like this wasn't out of the ordinary. Like if Zayn, I always rated him for it. If he didn't want to do something, like he literally wouldn't do it. Like you name the thing, it doesn't matter. He just if he does it doesn't, if it's not right for him.
So even then it could have been like, oh, he's Zayn's just not here. Like they say like it's still not official. It's like, oh, Zayn didn't want to do the photo shoot. That's Zayn for you. Yeah, okay.
That's Zayn. Guess we'll just make do without him.
Yeah.
And then he won't do it. So I think that's probably why he left the band, you know. And that's what I admire about him, because if I was in his same situation, I would have probably put 6 plasters on it just to hope that we can stay playing happy families, you know. I want to know if he regrets it.
Yeah, interesting.
A couple of edits there. Yeah,
there's been a few.
Yeah,
that was a big one. That was a big one.
Now I wonder what it was said. Hey, yeah.
maybe or just a coughing fit or pee break, but yeah.
Not in the way that, like, his own personal success has been incredibly successful and he's done really, really well like that. But he must miss it. Like, he must do, because I know Zane really well, and Zane has a bit of the kind of energy I do in such a way that sometimes this whole job can just be a little bit fussy. It's just a bit fussy in general, you know, there's just a lot going on like that. Now, when you're in a band, you can share that wealth. It's like, you know, say you're sat in an interview you're not enjoying. You just kind of shut up a little bit and let someone else pick up the pieces and they'll do that role. We could share the things that we didn't like to do as much. So there must definitely be times.
We saw them have that. Didn't we see an interview when Louis was not into it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like, yeah.
That he misses the comfort of that for sure. But it's kind of like the elephant in the room, to be honest. It's not, I've met up with him a couple of times recently, but it's not often something we'll discuss. But there'll be a time for that for sure. I would like to have those conversations with him. But it crushed me, man. It absolutely crushed me. I was devastated because it felt like, oh, is this the beginning of the end of the band? But then also I'm like, this is like my best mate in the band at the time. So it was, I'd lost a friend and someone in the band.
It's funny, you know, I've heard you say that you weren't prepared for the success of One Direction, but you also weren't prepared for the end of One Direction.
Oh, no.
And you describe it as hitting you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, it was awful. It wasn't until after the event that I realized that I actually computed all of these feelings, but it was like I was straight grieving for it. That was grieving the band. I'm someone who unfortunately has a little bit of experience in grief, and albeit it felt different, but it was a version of the same thing. It was something that I really wanted that couldn't have anymore. I think like anything like that, you know, like if you're like I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So like I felt the wheels start to turn in motion like that. But you're looking the other way. You're like, no, it's fine. It's not going to play out like that. It's never going to come to that, whatever. And then we had a meeting one day and it did.
What happens in that meeting? What's said? Is it Simon saying something? Is it the boys? Is it representatives?
Well, that's a good question. I just want to take a deep breath there. A lot has been said. Okay. This is a big question. I wonder what Louis is going to say. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just picturing, because that's kind of what the world wants to know. Like, because they said to the public, we're on hiatus. They didn't really say we're done. So I wonder if that will be verified right now. If he will say, no, we did talk about a hiatus. We didn't think we were going to end it there. Or is he going to say, no, we kind of knew we're in. But anyways, yeah.
I'm finding it fascinating hearing him, like his approach to this was, I've got to always just keep positive and just, and to the point of like, I'm not even going to like really think about the reality that we might break up. Like he has the sense that it's going there, but he goes, but I'm just gonna look the other way. I'm gonna like always, and like to their credit, had they all gotten kind of like, oh, hey, here we go, we're on our way out, it would have brought them down. So I wondered to what extent was Louis a factor in kind of keeping people's spirits towards the positive, even though that it was obvious the direction things were going.
Yeah.
It was us boys, which was great. Always how it should be like that, obviously.
No
but
Simon.
I think it almost might as well have been representatives. What's really fascinating is those real serious moments. We wouldn't have a lot of them in One Direction. We were just kind of going with the flow and really happy, you know, for each other and stuff like that. But I think those kind of moments where you have to be selfish, it was an atmosphere that I never really felt in the band, because normally, like I said, we're arm in arms. It's all this camaraderie. And then all of a sudden you get someone thinking more independently and more for themselves, which, by the way, they have every right to do, of course.
Harry.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about the meeting with the four of them, not Zane.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm guessing Harry.
Think the other two are Liam and Niall. And I don't think Niall had big aspirations of splitting off back then. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, we got a ding from Vanessa, so I don't know. But it's and I like how Louis says this individual has every right. Has every right to feel. Like he's not saying he shouldn't feel that way, but that's just not what Louis was feeling. And Louis has his right to feel the way he's feeling, but he's just saying, somebody could have been leading the charge in this meeting. Like, wouldn't this be kind of fun to do our own thing?
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to lead that charge because look, it happened. The break happened, so somebody had to voice it. I don't think it was Louis. So at least the other three.
Right. To be fair, though, Harry has said multiple times that he had always thought that they would all stay together. So I don't think it was Harry that was going, like, I've always wanted to be on my own. Like, I don't think that's it at all. I wonder if there was sort of an inkling from maybe others too. Like, I don't know. I want to hear what Louis has to say.
Yeah,
but I'm fascinated to hear what Louis is saying. Yeah,
but it just felt, the room felt cold that day. I can remember that in particular. It was. I'm trying to find the right metaphor for it, but it was something where these are all the same faces that I've seen every single day, but I'd never quite felt an energy like that in the room. There was there was this emptiness, and I think probably because we all knew collectively where it was going, and that's probably some friction between those ideas. The thing that really bothered me was, and this again is naive, was so naive at the time, but I was adamant on having some kind of indication of, because it was originally said as, what's that fucking word we've used a million times? Hiatus.
Yeah.
By the way, it's just such a cringy word. So it was originally pitched as that. So I was thinking, I remember saying like, well, if I'm going to try and do some stuff on my own, and at this point I didn't even know what I was going to do, I was like, it'd be good to know how long this break's going to be for. So like, let's speculate. A year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I never really got an answer to that question, which I understand now, because truthfully, I don't think the people or person involved was brave enough to answer that question.
The person? Okay, I'm gonna speak for how my brain is processing this meeting. I think it was run by Harry.
Okay.
I think Harry was the most adamant. Like, let's take. He again, not a criticism, just an observation of what I think might have happened. He envisioned himself being a solo artist and no longer part of a boy band, which is, again, like Louis says, it's his right. But I think Harry might have softened the blow by saying, "But it's just a break. It's a hiatus. We're not breaking up."
Yeah,
that wasn't the band's call. I think Harry might have started the hiatus talk because Louis didn't seem to be a part. Like, are we just, because even he seemed hesitant. Like, am I doing one solo album? Am I doing two? Am I doing three? Like, how many solo albums am I doing? Yeah. Do I save some of this material for our band? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Vanessa saying Twitter was a mess when this clip got out. Okay. So when this right here, what we're hearing right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. I'm glad we're picking up what we're picking up. This is only because of our own personal journey. We're picking up the subtleties here. Louis reminds me of me a little bit in that, in my this is not a criticism of my family, but I'm always the last person to know anything. I always feel like, for whatever reason, all my brothers, this is always growing up. I'm nearing half a century old now. And I'm always sort of the last person to know anything, good or bad, in my family dynamics with parents, siblings. Like, so I feel like I'm Louis a little bit. Like, oh, this is happening. Okay, I guess this is what's happening. I don't remember this happening. Anyways, so
deep down, I think they probably knew the reality, and that's why it was tough.
And does Simon try and persuade you back into the band?
Let me say that by this point, and I'd say Simon was aware of this, but maybe not quite so aware. Because we're a band, after about 2 years of One Direction, absolutely nobody could tell us shit. Now, we were nice boys, we were never like rude or anything like that, but like, so like if Simon had, like, we didn't have that, he might have had that relationship prior, like back in the 90s when all that stuff was kind of prevalent, but I think we'd always had our own kind of confidence like that. So he was never involved in those kind of decision making.
Yeah, at some point they're too powerful in the sense that, like, if we want to do a country album, we're doing a country album. Like, Simon doesn't have control over us anymore the way that,
That is fascinating to hear, because that's often, well, let's put it this way. When we got One Direction, I just assumed this was this manufactured band that had everything written for them and they were just putting on a performance for the ladies. That was my very biased, very ignorant understanding of what I thought they were. And I hadn't actually had that that statement confirmed that they were like fully independent by 2 years, right? And so that's fascinating to think that they not just like were extremely successful, that they shed the like the layers of people trying to like, oh, I'll make you more famous, so I'll write you a hit single. Like they shed all of that and just went their own direction. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Well, this is fascinating. What's he going to talk about for the last hour and a half?
I don't know. But he's going to get into more of the. I bet you there's more juicy details.
Yeah, again, don't answer the question, folks. We'll get there.
He was smart enough to realize that would rub us up the wrong way.
Makes sense. And then it ends, and your life goes from absolutely crazy to less crazy.
Yeah, it's still something that I'm unpacking still, to be honest, and still trying to work out all of those kind of things. I remember something I spoke about before, but Julian Bonetta, who is a producer who worked on a lot of the One Direction stuff, we had a great relationship with him. Really cool guy. We had this crazy night at, it was like some kind of Billboard Awards in Vegas. Julian, he pulled me aside and he said, and it was like really, it's funny because he's not really like this heavy, but it's a real heavy statement. He'd obviously had a few vodka Red Bulls or something. And he was like, where do we go from here? Now, by the way, the we upset me a little bit. It's like I understand that and we are all in this together, but that question is a hell of a lot deeper for me than it is you. I understand, I get it, but at the same time, you're probably, and what he did end up doing is carrying on doing what he did. And I still don't really know the answer to that question. And in fact, maybe I don't think you can. I think a lot of people's, not everyone's, but most people's natural trajectory of, let's just call it success. I could make a pedantic argument for it not being specifically that, but they have a kind of lineal journey. That the older they get, the more successful that they get. What was really strange was being 24 years old and realizing that the only way is down from here. Like there is no alternative reality where I at least keep up or supersede. No way. There was no chance of that. And that wasn't, it was very obvious. It was very obvious to anyone around it. And still is something that is challenging, definitely.
Edit there.
Another edit there. Yeah.
Holy smokes. So he's basically, am I hearing that he's saying that he recognizes I'm not going to be as big as One Direction, let alone surpass it on my own? It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll acknowledge Harry's.
See, he's speaking of himself. He's not saying all the members, but he's certainly talking for himself. I think it's already been proven that I think Harry is the only one that has sort of matched, if not surpassed, ticket sales and album sales. And
yeah. No, I'm curious. I'm curious to know, and I hope, don't spoil this one, but like he's mentioned Zayn obviously and kind of their relationship. He's brought up Niall briefly, and I assume they're going to get into Louis at some, or Liam at some point, and discuss the passing of Liam. But I'm sure everyone here wants to know or wanted to know, and don't confirm or deny this yet. Yeah. But that there's probably going to be some discussion about Harry, because like the amount of like the Larrys, that have like consumed the internet. I wonder if he'll address any of that. But
I don't think he will. That's just me. Again, don't say if Nathan's wrong or right, or if I'm wrong or right. I don't think he will, but I think what we should read here, Nathan, is the way he's speaking about Harry. Again, not in a bad way. He's not even speaking in the way of a scorned lover. You know what I mean? So all this relationship, people, this should be evidence that he's just talking. He actually is talking like a band member would talk.
Yeah.
A partner in business. There's no jealousy or scorned loverness, to his demeanor and talking about the situation, where you might think if there truly was a relationship of a romantic sort at the end of the day. Let's be serious, folks. I don't think I'm not sensing any of that in this discussion of the past, not even to a degree. Yeah. So either he's a master actor, great, and then he should go into movies, or those shippers out there can just drop it already. Yeah.
Because you've had a look behind the curtain, now some of the things that maybe I had then that I don't have now, I'm not overly pressed for like a billboard for the album on in LA or here in New York. Like, I don't get those kind of opportunities anymore. Do I lose any sleep over it? No, not really. But I think the feeling in general of I have to work really hard to compete at the level I do. Like, that is just a fact. Like, I just got a #1 record on the last record on Faith in the Future. Never in a million years, when I started my solo career, did I ever think that I would be getting a #1 record.
Oh, wow.
It's a testament to my fans, testament to the record, the producers, etc. But I've always had to work on my own anyway. I've always felt like I've had to work really, really hard just to kind of keep my head above water. Now, the reality of that statement is, and I realize that as I say it out loud, my version of head out of water or head above water is very different to a lot of people. Because from 18 to 24, that whole landscape looked very, very different. And that's why I've always found it quite unrealistic to not compare the two. I completely agree with that, because you cannot compare them. The two being One Direction and my own solo career. But it's something that you can't ignore. I do a cover.
Boy, a lot of hard edits here. Holy smokes.
There are, yeah.
Yeah, very well said. That's about all you can say. Not much more to add. That yes, I'm not going to have the career I had as One Direction, so I'm not going to compare the two. They're two different beasts, but you can't ignore the comparison at the same. It's like Beatles versus solo work. Like, it's going to happen. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, you were once a member of that discussion is going to happen until well after they're gone from the earth. That's the trajectory of their career. They were in a band together, and then they went solo.
Yeah. It's interesting when I'm picking up on this, because I still want to hear him talk more, and I want to see where it, or if it goes in any of the directions I was thinking of. So there's no other word. Okay. But
trajectory.
Trajectory. There you go. One trajectory.
So that's our boy band. Two trajectory. Wait,
two trajectory.
Two trajectory.
Yeah. You say that 3 times fast.
No, I can't say it one time. One time slow.
Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. But anyway,
no, that's good.
We'll
keep
Stupid of me to call it a cover. I realized how funny that is. When I do a One Direction song, I call it a cover, which is really ironic. But I do night changes on my tour show. And I can remember this one show in particular. I think it was like a 5,000 capacity room. And I think maybe we'd done like 1,200 tickets, which, is okay. That's all right. But
I feel bad.
Oh, it's like
no, I don't know why I felt sad for a second there. I thought he was at the 5,000 seater, so I'm thinking, oh, that's not a very big theater in general. And then he didn't sell it out. I was like, oh. And I just, bless this Louis heart, bless his little elf heart. Yeah.
When you're singing night changes at a gig like that, when you can vividly and visually remember singing night changes like that at, say, Wembley Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And you're literally singing Look How Fast the Night Changes, and you're looking out to this sparse room. It's like a brutal kind of poetry. And that's the point about it being unrealistic, is I could be the most, and I could be the most glass half full guy in the world, but life is going to constantly challenge me like that, definitely, because that was the pinnacle.
Yeah. Look at the people. Yeah, let me look how many people are there. Can you imagine?
Well, and like what Debbie's saying, this is when he first went solo, right? Yeah. So thinking back to that that contrast between those two, like you can say all you want, like, but I can't compare the two, right? But he's saying like, but when you actually were at the one, and now you're at this other smaller venue, and then to boot there's only a quarter or third of the seats that are sold, it's gonna sting at first, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm very curious, because like I really do hope we end up getting to go, because we're the date is June, I think 3rd for Vancouver, which is the show we would go to. There's tickets available. I don't think it's going to sell. It's a pretty big arena. I don't think it would actually sell out 18,000 people, but
I'm pretty hopeful we'll get a ticket. It's just, again, at the time it's recording, we'll get there.
Well, that'll be cool though, because the album will have released. We'll have listened to it. And,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, New York's a different place there, but I hear you. But yeah.
It's very, very human. Obviously, the example and the scenario you're talking about is one no one can understand. Mm-hmm. But it's the comparison is how we work. It's how we understand the value of things. Mm-hmm. And as you say, going to the top of Mount Everest at 24 means that you're always going to have some kind of sort of even unconscious comparison to everything thereafter. What do you do about that? Do you have to use a different yardstick of measurement?
I try to.
These are words, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
Being honest.
And some days I live by it. Some days I live by it, definitely. I wrote something on my social media probably like 4 or 5 years ago now, but it was on Instagram, I think, and about my interpretation of the word success, because I'd spent a long time and I only knew through the lens of one direction. And I think that's a constant battle. It's a constant conversation with myself internally that I can measure my own success in a different way. It doesn't have to be a numbers game, you know, in terms of like fulfillment, for example, and like, you know, do it like this latest record that I've just written. Like I feel really, really good about it. There's been an element of me kind of swimming against the tide a little bit to this point. It's like that, the feeling of fulfillment is like, that's legit.
Did you have conversations with your former bandmates about how they were coping with these?
Yeah.
Is it all different?
To be honest, that would only happen me and Liam. Like between the other.
So weird. How little they talk. It's so weird.
Yeah. I guess I always imagined them all like getting together as a bunch of friends afterwards and going, like, got this song idea.
Yeah.
You know, let's
want to come over and hear it.
Yeah.
You want to hang out in the studio while I record? That's awesome. Hey, Harry, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
and those really are the seeds of things, why the band couldn't keep its momentum, right?
Yeah.
The boys, like, not that it's not like emotional, because like it is, and it's definitely deeper than surface level, but it's more, I would struggle to text the other boys as much.
Why?
I would love to hang out with them in person like that, but there's an element of it feeling, it's just all a bit small talk, you know, like, which is lovely and it's nice to catch up like that.
Is that a Nile song?
No, Pillow Talk.
No, the Zayn song. I think Small Hands. Was that the song?
Small Hands.
Oh, sorry. Small Hands. Small Pillow Talk Hands.
Slow Hands.
Slow Hands.
Small Hands.
I told you I'm terrible titles. Of a song title. Like Small Pillow Talk Hands. You remember that song? Good one. You know, we really need to totally off topic, re-react to our reaction of Zayn's Pillow Talk. It's right now, it's currently only on our Patreon. We eviscerated that song and Zayn. It might be a very soul searching reaction for us to face our former selves and something to think about. Maybe for our 5-year anniversary.
Yeah, that would be fun. I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
But me and Liam would always speak on a much more deep level because, and I felt bad saying this because I feel arrogant, but I shouldn't. I wanted to look after him, definitely, Liam. Like that was like a role I feel like I was there to play. And like he definitely, you know, often his, the way he would like perceive certain parts of his life, I would be really inspired by. Like he was someone who really brave at times, which like contrary to sometimes what he put out, but really, really brave. Like he would ask anyone anything with a smile. And like, you know, he had a really good way about him like that. I would say he was the closest to being my brother. Love him deeply, could spend hours and hours and hours with him, but there was an element of always checking in and just making sure that like he's cool like that.
Did you worry about him?
Always, yeah. Because I knew he was a little misunderstood, but also, you know, like interestingly, the record when you're starting out as a solo artist, the parallels of people who know themselves make the best records. Definitely.
Ooh. Did you catch that?
No, I heard it, but I didn't quite like.
He said people that know themselves do the best records, solo records.
Oh.
We talked about that with Liam. Didn't we say that about him? That he felt discombobulated with his sound. He did like Liam, pick a lane, figure out who you, not to say who you are, but we sense that Liam seemed to be chasing what he didn't even know what he wanted to do with music, and that's a very poignant way of putting it, that's the key. Is Liam didn't know who he was. He's still chasing, finding the peace within himself. Then you could argue that's maybe why Harry knew earlier than all the other guys of who he was as a solo artist. That's why he knocked it out of the park right away, because he already knew, I know what I want. That's fine. Again, it's not a criticism. The reality is Harry knew what he wanted as a solo artist right away. Boom, out of the gate. Sign of the times. Like, my gosh, like, hello. Whereas Liam was like, I don't know. He was floundering a little bit.
Well, plus Liam self admits this, that he kind of needed the structure of the band and the structure of others around. That was important to him, and that it had this momentum that he could kind of keep a step ahead of, so that that allowed and motivated him to keep doing what he was doing. And then when that was gone, it was just like, I don't have that. Like, I have people that want it, but like, I have to be like Louis saying here, I have to be kind of self-motivated and really know who I am, so I have a direction to take. Again, sorry, I mean a trajectory. Trajectory.
So like, if you're still unpacking all that information of who you are as a person, as an adult, which we all were post One Direction, it's near impossible to point and go, this is who I want to be as an artist, because essentially it's just a metaphor for who you are as a person, or at least the best stuff is. Liam will be someone who, candidly, I could say to him really honestly, like, bro, fucking hell, like, I miss being in the band, and we could like have a really honest conversation like that. Whereas, and I don't mean this in any kind of way, but if I'd said that to any of the boys, I'd be worried that they might think, oh, things aren't going well in his solo life,
Oh, go back on that. I want to hear that one more time.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard to go back. So I'll try 53. Let's just.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Go back 10 more seconds. 52, 50. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, that's good. That's
right
good.
there.
52,
right
50. Yeah.
It's near impossible to point and go, this is who I want to be as an artist, because essentially it's just a metaphor for who you are as a person, or at least the best stuff is. Liam will be someone who, candidly, I could say to him really honestly, like, bro, fucking hell, like, I miss being in the band, and we could like have a really honest conversation like that. Whereas, and I don't mean this in any kind of way, but if I'd said that to any of the boys, I'd be worried that they might think, oh, things aren't going well in his solo life,
Interesting. So it's a very interesting, again, observation of his own relationship with the other three. Like, hey guys, wouldn't it be great if we did it's kind of like, problems at home.
Right.
Yeah.
But what he's admitting here is that, like, of the five, really, Liam and Louis were the only two that had this, like, oh, what if we got back together again? Hey, that would be cool.
But they genuinely liked it. It wasn't just a fact. They might have had that conversation even had their solo albums been as big as Harry's, let's say. They still felt they enjoyed those days, maybe more than the other three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which again doesn't make one right or one wrong.
No.
I know the fandom might have picked sides with these kind of statements, and we're not doing that. No one broke any laws.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Like, it's funny. Like, no, I know.
According to people, it's just like, dumb.
No, nobody lied.
Been for Yoko.
No. Yeah, there is no Yoko here. You know what I mean?
No.
There actually isn't. Like, this was. People change, and we've said it with our stupid channel. Like, I told Nathan at the very beginning, like, the day you don't want to do it anymore, just go. There's no hard feelings. Like, you have to recognize that, or vice versa. Like, people's wants, desires, goals. Think people just change. It doesn't make them bad. It just
yeah.
Life is yeah.
Whereas Liam, I never had to worry about those things. It was like brothers like that.
He wore his heart on his sleeve, didn't he? So Liam was Liam.
Yeah, definitely. And I it's really fresh. That it's a really, really cool way of living. Because we all say, even like I would like to say I wear my heart on my sleeve, but there's still 10% of me that's guarded in the right places. He certainly had his way of being. I
do, like as we were saying earlier, I do wonder if that made him slightly more susceptible to the pressures, because sometimes if you can put on a second face, if you can,
What's helped me in this job, and there's no truer time that kind of shows itself. It's me as a parent. There is a real distinction. This is me. There is me at work, and there is me not at work, basically. So either being a parent or being a friend or a partner or whatever. That's always helped me to have that kind of distinction of, when I'm dad to Freddie, I'm full-time dad and I'm not a singer, and any of that world outside does not really matter. It's not relevant to me as a father, which it isn't.
Did I ever tell you about the data breach that we had at my previous company?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Okay, so we can just meet the commercial while we can talk here for a second about that. Again, I'm not anywhere talented or smart or whatever as Louis or anything like that. But that's again where Louis and I are very similar, like in the sense of my work, my job. I'm the same way. When I come home with my family and life, I try very hard, and it's naturally so that I'm not who I am like my work isn't home. Like it's not who I am. My focus is now and even when I'm at work, I don't take my family to work with me. Like, I focus on the job on hand, and I'm here to work, and blah blah blah. So I think Louis is very good at that too. Focusing on what's in front of him. Yeah,
compartmentalizing. I was horrible at that as a teacher, by the way. It's partly why I the many reasons I left teaching, but one of them was it was next to impossible to leave. Like the stories would come home with you because you had just had this crazy interaction with a student or a parent or another teacher or something every day. And so you couldn't come home and just kind of like, I'm just going to leave it. Yeah. Right. It would inevitably creep up.
Boy, this is a good paid ad here. So if you buy this product, I will get more money in my pocket. Well, but your internet will be safe, but more money for me. So be sure to put my name in your order so your internet is safe. But remember, more money in my pocket. That's why I'm doing this. So, did I tell you? Oh, yeah, here's DOA. That's right. CEO, whatever, DOAC. Let's go. Save 50%.
Safe, DOAC. Let's go. One time, more money in my pocket. This little guy who told me I should never, ever sell. Oh,
wait. And Ryan and Nathan, they won't get any money. Oh, put it in Welp, /Welp for 10% saving. All right, here we go.
I've never found more photographs of a person's life in my life.
Cute, nice little denim jacket.
What do you think when you see that photo?
It looks like, it reminds me of a nice time.
This one?
Cute kid.
Yeah, I remember that vividly. We did like a full photo shoot in my living room. Yeah, quite like the pose with the hands in the pockets. It's much more nonchalant than I would have actually been feeling.
These ones are all the band photos. It's just fucking unbelievable. Like looking at some of the crowds on these images is insanity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my mum took this picture. This was the first picture ever taken of us, and my mum took this.
Oh wow.
You look super young.
Yeah. That again, yeah. So I was the oldest, 18. Then you got the Harry, Liam, and Niall. They were 16, saying 17.
And of course, you're.
Yeah, I love that picture. It kind of really sums up mine and Liam's relationship. I love it. He will have been telling me a joke that I didn't think was like hilarious at the time, so I'll be giving him that kind of face, and then probably about an hour later I would have laughed to myself about it.
That sounds like me.
I have these beautiful pictures of your beautiful mother.
Oh yeah, they're lovely. I love this one. This is cute. Wow. Real cute. Yeah, I got a very similar picture to this by my bedside table at home in my bedroom.
About a year after you leave One Direction,
pause there, or
No, we'll
because
keep going.
he's probably going to go into the
We'll do it. We're going to do a couple more. We'll do it.
Okay.
Got to be exact.
Your mother passes away from leukemia. Thinking about the timing of all these events, thinking about the shock of being thrown into a very different life, one without the boy band around you, and then your mother getting leukemia, which if people don't know is the 12th most common form of cancer. She passes away at age 42.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The timing of all these things is quite unthinkable to me, because there's so much transition in your life. I'm just terribly sorry.
I appreciate you saying
that.
I
don't really have anything else to say other than just understanding what she meant to you and the role she had in your life. I'm terribly sorry.
This is not criticism at all. This is actually praise for Stephen. That might be one of the best ways I've ever seen somebody address the passing of a loved one. Like, don't like go overly like, oh, and here's the details of, boy, this would have been hard for you, and and he says, I don't know what to say except I'm terribly sorry. And I love that Louis acknowledges that as like, I appreciate that. Like I've said this before with Stephen, like he's probably one of my favorite ones to listen to, just because he doesn't seem to have all this ego. And I've even heard him get self-deprecating every once in a while too, where he doesn't totally like become, I'm the most important person in the room,
Right.
But he inevitably becomes that person without having to say it. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, he's very good at, not say it's his job, but no, he's very good at what he does. There's no criticism on Stephen. He's of all the interviews we see, he's in the top 3 discussion for sure, if not probably top interviewer that we've done.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry.
As you said, the timing, look, obviously there's no good time for anything like this, but I think the timing, that's what created a bit of, it didn't last too long. I want to say maybe 6 months, but of like true like resentment for the world, like real resentment. Just feeling really hard done by, it's the kind of, one thing I remember about grief when you're in the midst of it, you could stub your toe, right? And something like that is utterly unjust. Now, that's something you might have done. Say none of this ever happened. You stub your toe. It'd be annoying, but you just get over it. Little things like that I really, really struggled with when I was grieving. So it's things that should work a certain way that don't. There's a zip on my jacket that won't quite go all the way up. Real micro, non-important little things. But I think because of the weight of the stuff that had happened, there was a moment in my life, as I said, for about 6 months where it just felt like I couldn't win. And in fact, I could only lose. So that's where even just stubbing your toe, you'd be like, oh, another fucking thing. Now, it sounds stupid to say, but once you're met with when you're met with that kind of mindset of feeling hard done by, the smallest things definitely can amplify that.
His willingness to be not just vulnerable. I think it's that I'm really picking up on his emotional intelligence. I think that's the right way to describe it. Like the way that he just described that, right? How those kinds of things when you're grieving become like enormous. And like, even how he expanded that. I can see somebody from the outside going like, his accent makes him sound dumb.
Sure.
But like, he's a brilliant person. He's got a very like healthy understanding about how he sees this and then like being like this is what it's like. I totally identify with it. I've been in, I wouldn't call them grieving situations, but certainly going through depression. That's kind of the same thing. Like when you're like devoid of feeling, just and everything feels hopeless, you kind of little things just become mountains, and it's just like everything's against me kind of thing, right? Yeah.
No, well said, Nathan. Well said. I think what he was feeling obviously was depression. In that, that's what happens when you have that cloud of something tragic or horrible. Then all the little things that you might brush off, it's just amplified. It's just, oh my gosh, world, leave me alone. Stubbed toes, burnt toast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you're in a cloud of rightfully so. He is in a bad place. So, all right. Well, let's continue.
When did you hear that she was sick?
I got friendly with a footballer called Jamie Vardy, and he'd invited me to his wedding. So I was at the wedding, and now it was like the party afterwards, and it was like 10 p.m. At this point, I'd already had quite a few vodka Red Bulls, which was not ideal for the weight of the conversation. My mum called me. I was stood outside. It wouldn't have been out of the ordinary for my mum to call me, so I wasn't worried or anything like that. She called me like most days, if not every day. And then she told me, and you know, like what it's like, anything like this in life, when you hear something like that carries any kind of weight, like the first 10 thoughts are either it can't be true, maybe she's got it wrong, maybe the doctors have got it wrong, just all these stages of denial of before actually, you know, even embracing the thought. It wasn't kind of really like me. I didn't even feel like it was like a cry for help at the time, but that night I got absolutely battered. I got really, really drunk. There'll be nights where, you know, and this has been nights in the past where I'll have a little bit too much to drink, more from not knowing my limit. But in this kind of situation, it's not something I've ever really used drink for, to be honest. But I felt the only way just to completely escape that moment at that night.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's no mystery. I mean,
I would like that seems to be like if it's so hard to just take it on head on, like kind of feels like, yeah, not right now.
Yeah. I mean, I've never drank to the sense of like, yeah, but I understand people doing that to erase sort of the memory, or I don't want to deal with this right now. It's obviously not a healthy coping mechanism, and I'm grateful that Louis didn't literally drown himself in his sorrows because it can as well. News alert: alcoholism can destroy people's lives, Nathan.
yeah.
But he's but he's acknowledging it. He's sober. He's acknowledging it. But yeah, he's saying, yeah, obviously this is a traumatic time, and yeah, I've had a few because of it. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
What I found really challenging during even that first conversation with her about it was, I still wanted to inspire hope. I still wanted to, like, because she was really hopeful, and she was like, so I was trying to have this like genuine worry that any son would, but I also was trying to shield a bit of my mum from that. I didn't want her to, you know, feel like she'd upset me, or, you know, even though obviously it wasn't her choice. But I can remember that idea of really trying to, I would be real with my mum about how I was feeling, but there were times when I wouldn't be, because I wouldn't want her to feel guilty.
So she told you over the phone that she'd had a diagnosis?
Yes, yeah, she told me that she had leukemia. My first answer was, I don't know where, again, this is just like the definition of denial. My first answer, word for word, was, oh, that's the good one to get though, right?
Well, fair. It's a fair question, because there are levels or different kinds, and that's what he's grasping, not for straws, he's grasping for hope. He's like, okay, well, we can deal with this one. This is one that's like, it's like when people hear you have skin cancer, in theory you could say, oh, well, that's treatable, and there's the high success rate.
When I had mine, it was kind of it was weird, because when I would tell people that I have it, and I would say, oh yeah, but don't worry, this is like super treatable, blah 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 blah, I could tell people were like trying to like, yeah, he's just denying it right now. But the truth was, actually was a very treatable cancer. It was like
you get this, so that's the scar on your neck, is that surgery?
Yeah, and like, because this is one that's been around for so long, and people, you know, been treating it for a long time, it would just there was an obvious treatment for it, and then, you know, done. But I just remember people thinking like, oh, that poor guy, he's just in denial.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Right. No, but that's fair, and that's actually not even absurd. The fact that he's making it sound like it's a bad, because obviously she passed, so that's what it's. But it could just as easily been the one that like you experienced. So he's not crazy for saying that.
No, No, everyone wants it to be that.
Of course.
Especially your
is this the one that
response.
kills you? Like he's hopeful. It's like, this is the one we can treat. This is the one we can treat, right? This is the good one. This is
yes, yeah.
I'm glad Nathan's okay too. I'm
fine. I just take medication every day, and there's lots of people that survive. It's thyroid cancer, in case anyone's curious. It's you catch it early, and it's not that big of a deal. Yeah.
Meaning that has the most survival rate.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And bless her, she has to be like, no, not really.
Huh.
And how long was it from that phone call till her passing?
I have no idea. I could not. I want, my guess would be 18 months. I think it might have been quicker than that. The anniversary of her death, I get texts all the time. And whenever the anniversary is, and someone will say, thinking of you today. And it's only at that point that I know that that's the day. Because it's deleted from my brain.
Coping.
Yeah. She passes. Because you don't have your biological father isn't around, you're very much at that point, you're in some respects, you're the father of lots of siblings because you're your big brother. You went out on stage 3 days after her death for an X Factor performance.
Oh yeah, that's right.
From what I understand from...
is he going to bring up that, remember Zayn didn't show up? Is that...
Oh, maybe.
From Lottie, she very much pushed you to do that before she passed away and told you that you
that's right,
you needed to do that performance.
I'll never forget the X Factor final performance that he did with Steve Aoki when my mum had only passed away like a couple of days before, which I still can't believe he even, had the strength to do. But my mum was just so proud of him, and especially him starting his solo career. Even in like her final days, she was like, if I don't make it, I still want you to do this performance. And when she did pass, we were like, there's no way, no one would have expected him to do it, but he wanted to do it for her.
And I knew exactly what that was. I knew why she was telling me. She was telling me because she would have hated something that had happened to her.
Sorry, Lottie's a hottie. I'm sorry.
That's true. She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Affect my career and my life as a person. I would do it again for her. I don't think I'll ever have a more challenging time in my life than those 3.5 minutes.
We saw that performance.
I did it only for her. I didn't. It's not something I look back on and go, I'm really proud. I am proud that I did that, but that you almost say those kind of things when you want to do something, right? I'm really proud that I did that. It felt like it was taken out of my hands. I didn't want her to have that guilt, but it was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. Like, obviously, it was horrible. And also the song was called Just Hold On. It's weird how...
Interesting edits. I bet you a lot of the edits are just the ums and the pauses and drink of water, maybe, or who knows. Yeah. But anyways, we've reacted to that. We do have a reaction on YouTube regarding that performance. I didn't mean to get to the dirt of things, but I think we talked about at the time of our feelings, of which, we understand more now than we did then. Just that Zayn wasn't there for that. I believe he wasn't there for that. And that was probably hard for Louis, I think.
Yeah. I remember watching that one and just like knowing a little bit. I love that we're getting a lot more context here, but knowing a little bit, enough to know that that this is not what you would normally see Louis as, on screen, on stage, that he was just really just trying to keep it together.
Sure.
Yeah.
Empowering those moments are. I can sit here now and comfortably say that the chances of my life being as dark as it was in those 3 minutes alone, like, I would be desperately unlucky to ever be in a situation like that again, where I was so young. I was in a situation where, as you said, all the timing was, and then I felt like I'd, been encouraged to go on stage, but it wasn't really something that I wanted to do. It puts everything into perspective. you know, so like nothing's going to get as hard as that. So I think there's times where my job will weigh me down, even like today, you know, not today, but I mean, in this current head. And it's just it helps me remember and helps me put things into perspective that, you know, just because a radio station isn't playing my single, you know, that hurts 0.00001% in the same as something like that. So I think because I was so challenged emotionally and I survived the experience, it's given me a weird kind of confidence, to be honest. It's just knowing that life.
Do you want to say something?
Oh, sorry. I thought he was pausing.
Oh. I thought you were going forward to pauses. I did it for you.
No, I was going to. I was waiting to have him finish.
Well, go ahead and say why you said it's fascinating.
It's just fascinating to me because that's trying to him talking about how excruciating those 3 minutes are and saying all the other things, all the little snide comments or this not working out or that's like a tiny percentage of how hard it was to do that performance. And we watched the performance and went like, yeah, boy, it looked like he was having a rough time up there. But like, he's hiding it. And he's like, to say that's how excruciating it was for him.
Sure.
That's like, yeah, that's really sad. It almost makes me want to go back and see it.
Yeah.
Even just a piece of it, you know.
Isn't that a song, Louis song? Piece of Me? Am I thinking of something? Oh. No? I'm not even sure.
Yes, I think it is, yeah.
Probably won't get that dark again.
You sometimes don't realize that the role that your parents were playing until they're not around, that they were almost this sort of tectonic plate underneath everything. Was that a realization at that point?
Big time. There was this true dependency on my mum that I did not realize until I'd lost my mum. So I think there was definitely stuff that I've had to learn, like being like on my own. And often she would inspire confidence, you know. I'd say, I'm worried about this. I don't want to go to this audition, or I don't want to do this, or I'm worried about this song. And she, like, you know, as she always did, made me feel like I could do anything in the planet. And she'd actually make me feel stupid for even questioning. Interesting.
Sorry. Thanks, Sarah. So Lottie has a book called Lucky Girl, and apparently it was 8 months between their mom's diagnosis and passing. It's interesting how he's really
remembering of time. Yeah, he said 18.
He said 18.
Yeah.
So maybe he was thinking of the number 8, but said 18, which is a possibility because he's misremembering the number. But at the same time, it's just such a blur, and it probably dragged out, so it felt longer.
But that's a big difference between
a
year and a half and less than a year. Oh, I think my battery just died.
All right. Stand by, folks. It's a good thing we paused it, actually. It worked out all right. Oh. Yeah. Unzip your pants.
Yep. Pull it out.
Oh, wow. You got a microscope out, or what?
I'm pulling out a battery. What are you talking about?
I know. What are you talking about? Sorry, guys. He's just changing his batteries. Well,
yeah. Well,
this is what patrons pay for, Nathan. This is the stuff the YouTube will never see.
Okay, and I turn it on. There we go.
All right.
And the fact that I couldn't do anything, you know. So I think there's moments like that where you've almost had to relearn confidence like that.
And how does a young man grieve the loss of his mother at such a young age?
Everyone's grief is completely individual. Something I found out more recently. Purpose was mine. Now, this is, again, not a luxury that everyone has in a situation like I found myself in. I grieved, and I had moments where I was deeply, deeply upset. But these were fleeting moments because there was too much to do for my sisters. There was too much to do for my nan and granddad. There was too much to do for my family, where it gave me something to do. It gave me a true purpose. It gave me a reason. in the darkest days to get out of bed and confidently get out of bed. Because there was stuff that needed to be done. And at that time, my sisters were so young. And I was so terrified of what kind of effect that would have on them, you know, growing up. And luckily, they impress me every day. They're amazing, amazing women.
How old were they? If people in the chat don't mind, approximate ages when the mother passed, and so when Louis kind of took over that parental role. And obviously, again, I'm not a doctor, psychologist, therapist, but yes, purpose, sense of purpose. That's probably the greatest thing you can do to get out of the funk is what I do something today, do something. It doesn't have to be meaningful, change the world, but he said, what I mean is he had like, hey, I got a role here. I'm going to take care of, you know, and there's still people who exist that love me and need me or I can be with. So as tough as loss is, we all experience loss in our life, but there's still people around that want you to be a part of their life too. So it's like, yeah. And I know Louis' mother would not want him to obviously do anything hurtful or harmful to himself or others. So, you know, he carries that spirit on. Oh, they were 10 to 11. So they were young. Okay. They were, wow. So they weren't adults. So he really took on a lot. Holy smokes. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a huge responsibility. I think we knew that, but I'd forgotten they were that young. Okay.
I'm having a lot of thoughts around this, like especially like the way he decided to step up. And I know that he probably would say like, I didn't decide, I didn't like turn into a hero, and you know, he might say something along those lines, but it's still a choice. Like you still have a choice. You know, you can choose to grieve, as he said. There's these like really dark things, but he said they were fleeting. They were like quick.
Right, sure.
That's a choice. I reflect again on my own experience with cancer. I had a choice to just wallow in that first thought of whatever it was. And I think that for, you know, maybe an hour, I might have experienced that really like dark, like, what does this mean? But then it was like gone. It was just gone because I was like, but I have things to do. Like, I could let that just take over, but I got stuff to do, and I can't like that's a balancing act.
Welp.
Yeah, I had Welp, I had all kinds of stuff. Welp didn't exist at that point.
No, I know.
Yeah. So like thinking about how that works, I totally relate to it. Because like you see lots of people that don't. Right. There's lots of people that are like, but I need this comfortable sad feeling so I can just keep going back and feeling this sad feeling, because that's a feeling that I can feel now.
There is an addiction to that. I don't know. There are people who it doesn't matter. Again, but there is something, I forget what it's called, but yeah, they're kind of addicted to sad. Yeah. The feeling of, woe was me. Yeah. Okay. So Louis, not the victim. He's the hero. He pushed through, fought through it, took care of his family. Awesome.
My role felt like the strong one in that situation, and someone who's willing to give someone, you know, Daisy had called me and she'd be really upset, and by the end of the call, she can just see the glimpse of a glass half full. That was my job, you know. The grief became less relevant because of the need to look after everyone else.
Yeah.
Like sometimes might get asked, like, you know, what advice would you give to people with grief? It's just an impossible question to answer, just because, like, I'm still feeling it. Like you could, and the interesting thing about that is you could spend 2 weeks with me and you never knew me and you never knew my life story. Never in a million years would you think. So I don't carry myself like that. I'm not someone who's like down in the dumps like that. But it's still there. You know, it will never go away.
What are the symptoms of it still being there?
There is like this air of unpredictable. This feeling of, and that's sometimes where my positivity comes from too. Like things could change tomorrow. So I suppose that is, and that kind of jeopardy and that kind of idea, that's how I would interpret it. That, and because for any grief that I've experienced, it has been relatively quick. I haven't really had a lot of time to compute these kind of ideas.
Does that create a certain anxiety with like?
Sorry, I think the symptom really for him seems to be just grew up really fast. Like, we've seen the silly, goofy Louis before, and I wonder to what extent that silliness really makes it out on stage. I'm sure he's funny. He interacts with the audience and stuff when he goes on stage, but I bet you he's not even close to that goofiness we saw in X Factor.
Well, yeah, one, he's older, but two, you're right about. Yeah, there's a little of that might have been snuffed.
No.
If no certain worry for life that, if the foundations are uncertain and bad news can arrive at any moment, one would, that seems like the breeding ground of worry and anxiety. I actually wrote that down earlier because when we were speaking earlier, you said, I wasn't a worrier back then. When you're talking about your childhood.
Yeah, I didn't used to be a worrier. No, I'm...
Yeah.
Battery changed?
No, the battery didn't die. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay. Stand by.
Oh, wait. I know what it is. Sorry. It's not on the camera setting. It's on the photo setting.
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing out there?
There it is.
All right. Nope. What are you doing there, Nate?
Just adjusting.
There.
All fixed up. There we go.
Oh, there. All right. How's the weather? It's cool but nice. Cool but nice. All right. A little bit windy. Today. Storm came through. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
I'm sure most people can say that, right? Your worry levels, or at least for most people, you have less worry when you're younger. You haven't quite understood all your emotions yet, really.
Do you have anxiety? Do you struggle with it?
It's like, I experience it all the time. Is it something that kind of controls me? No. I'm sure you've heard about this. My vocal coach always used to say to me that the feeling of being anxious and excited are near identical in feeling. And that was something that always kind of stuck with me, really, because not always, but like a lot of like stuff that feels really good can be quite intimidating beforehand, that it was an anxiety that comes with doing something that is out of the ordinary, I suppose. I can distinctly remember, not so much now, but on the first tour, like I would literally, before going out on stage,
I think that they cut some of the stuff where he like puts his hands in front of his mouth and starts talking.
Do you think they tell him to move his hands? Maybe. Do you think?
Maybe, I don't know.
He does. I've noticed he does do a lot of talking with his hands on his face, like a lot of.
And it's fine. It's what. Oh, here we go.
What?
Oh, great. It's that internal temperature too high. Wait. Oh my gosh. Looks like the camera was unplugged. Plug it back in or select a different camera. I don't have a different camera to select. Okay.
That's funny.
There's no reason for this temperature to go up. I'm kind of at a loss here.
We'll give you a few minutes. Maybe everyone can go.
Hang on. I do have like a backup.
Make yourself some toast, some crumpets and tea. For our UK watchers, we have some crumpets.
Yeah. Crumpets and tea.
Yeah. Oh, you sure crumpets and tea? Oh, it's 10 a.m. It's tea time. a little spot of tea. I always feel like they never drink the tea. It's served. It's placed on the plate. It's like it's almost like a. Oh yeah, I guess we could drink it. They don't actually drink the tea. It's like a social thing.
Give me a sec here.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, folks.
I'm just switching out cameras. Pizza for breakfast. Well, that's breakfast in Seattle, though. That's pretty normal.
Oh, Shelley's from the Northwest. Hey, Shelley, I'm in Victoria, right above you. Did you know that?
Right above you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm right above her. Yeah. Well, yeah, you get what you pay for, Anita. This is ridiculous. People are going to drop out of our Patreon more than they already do.
Everyone just needs to just take a chill pill. I'm almost done.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Who said that? You were telling me that I'm not allowed to say that anymore.
I don't know. People that make the rules. I don't make the rules. I want to say the R word still. All right.
Old school camera coming back. Just give me a sec to fix it up. Right. Oh, what's that stupid app called?
You can't say stupid anymore. I'm just
You're stupid.
You're a stupid dumb.
You're a dumb poo face.
Yeah, poo. Yeah.
Oh shoot! What's this thing called? Opal Composer. There it is.
Why'd you put that up there?
Put what?
Oh, was that Seattle thing been up there forever? Oh. Okay. People are leaving, Nathan.
I know. They're just going and getting.
People have other things to do on a Saturday.
I know. Just allow camera support. Here we go. I'm not going to restart my computer.
No.
Well, you get this like.
It's fine. God. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. All right, you ready?
Need blood.
All right.
I need blood to survive.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, here we go.
As futile and as ridiculous as it is, I'd think to myself, like, how do I run away from this? Like, how could I literally run out the door and not do the gig? So maybe that's
how I feel about this channel all the time. How do I get away from this gong show of a channel?
Would be a version of anxiety, but it didn't stop me getting up there and doing it, I suppose. Maybe there's the difference.
A couple of years after the passing of your mother, you lose your younger sister, Felicity. And the circumstances of her death are...
Oh, boy. And we knew this.
Yeah, I forgot, though. I knew, but I knew he lost his sister, but I forgot it was an overdose.
Mm-hmm.
Deeply, deeply tragic. When I was speaking to several people in your life around you, they talked about how you had done so much since the passing of your mother to support your sisters, how you'd really taken on the role as being the quote-unquote head of the family, is what they told me. And the tragedy is deepened by the fact that she's 18 years old at the time. Again, an unthinkable tragedy for one person to go through in their life, but for you to go through two of these things in succession is... I mean, I don't have the words.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was speaking of before, that moment of stubbing your toe and that kind of aggravating you. That was just like that idea accentuated. I just couldn't believe, I couldn't believe how deeply unlucky we've been as a family. It was just now, maybe it's not overly uncommon people that you lose parents young and obviously struggle to deal with a bit at the time. I felt angry at life, and I felt angry mostly on behalf of my family. Now, it wouldn't be like, obviously I would know that I was included in this idea, but I wouldn't be thinking, what have I done to deserve this? It was more, Daisy and Phoebe are so young. They've already had and Lottie as well, already had so much to deal with. Why this and why now? It did feel incredibly, incredibly unfair. That's something that's interesting about grief, is just how different each thing feels.
Jeez, I don't know what to say. I'm not. Well, one thing that's interesting, not interesting, but very telling of Louis and the wonderful and amazing person he is. He wasn't even saying like how this is affecting me. He's thinking of the other people. He's thinking of like my poor siblings. Like, he's not even saying, woe is me. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me. He's feeling angry, or he said he's feeling anger for his family, that the universe is doing this to his family, not to him. You know, it's what it's doing for those around him that he loves. So he's very much, he thinks of others before himself, obviously.
Yeah, I guess it's hitting me more that, like, having somebody process their vulnerabilities this way. I know he's probably in the right place at the right time to be able to do it. Like, obviously that would have been horrible to do around the time.
Oh yeah.
But this is now how many years since? This is
6 years later, I guess, since the passing of his sister.
Yeah, that's always like the right time, it seems, for a lot of people, is in that like 3 to 6 years window to like openly discuss it. So Louis doing everything right. I guess that's what's really striking me, is like how truly good of a person he is and who he's trying to be.
Right.
He's got flaws just like everybody, but that's the person you want. You want a flawed, normal person that actually tries, and is giving it the best thing. He reminds me, he's like the Ned Stark of he even talks a little bit like he's got a similar accent to Sean Bean. I think they're from a similar area, not the same, but similar. But he reminds me of that. Like, it's like crap happens to his life, and instead of, makes little mistakes here and there, but like the general where he's pointed is he's got the right intentions, and he doesn't seem to have anything in there that suggests that he's sneaking and pulling, lying to us or telling us a line. He's being truthful, open, and honest. So it's great.
Because that definitely, it hit me in a different way. I mean, it was completely sudden and immediate. Again, one of the most challenging moments of my life. So I'm sat in my house in London, and everything was like fine. I was a little bit worried. I've been worried about Felicity for the months prior, as I was worried about all my sisters, and I was just sat in my front room, smoking a joint, not thinking about anything really. And then the doorbell rang at like 1 a.m. or something, or maybe like midnight. And I had this feeling come over me straight away. And I'm not really this kind of guy where on another day, I might have been worried that the police were coming to grab me weed, but it wasn't like that. I just had this thing come over me straight away, and I knew it was bad. I knew that, look, when someone rings your doorbell at that time, it's rarely good news.
Yeah.
And I saw, and then I opened the gates. I've got these gates, and I opened the gates, and I saw the police car and the policeman. And then they told me that she passed away, and I literally was like, okay. Right. I can't tell you why, because it was only me and my best friend and my ex-girlfriend at the time. So it wasn't like a pride thing of me being like, okay, like I'm cool, I'm fine. Not only was I in denial at that moment, like I just refused to even compute it. It was just like, okay, cool. And then I remember shutting the door. And then I told the people I'm in the house with, and obviously then they start crying, and obviously then I think your brain starts catching up with you.
Well, sure, shock. It's like you get your arm chopped off, and you just pick up the arm off the ground and walk around with it for a second. You know what I mean? Like you're just
before the pain kicks in.
Yeah. It's just like well, what else? Yeah, cool. All right, have a nice day. Thanks, officers. Yeah, have a good night. And he did kind of say that he probably wasn't. I would say he was waiting for the call. It sounds like she was living a little bit dangerously before. He said he'd seen some signs of trouble, and so it's kind of like this is one of the conclusions he was worried about that would happen. Now it's happening. He's like, okay, it's happened. I thought it could probably go here. Whereas his mother, phoning him out of the blue saying, hey, I have leukemia. There was no indication this was going to be a phone call he received from his mom. So there's two different things happening here. Both are losses, but one has a little bit of a heads up type behavior before.
Yeah. This one's harder to deal with. I assume that this one hit him harder, but I don't know.
Well, she's young, and she's only probably this way because of the loss of the mom. So it's that weird, like, holy smokes, like.
Well, and I wonder how much he's going to go into guilt with this, because I think he felt that he was responsible for the family. Right. So like feeling like this is my fault because I didn't look out for her more or check on her enough and do more, that's going to probably factor into it.
It might be, he might, I think
I'm not blaming him at all.
No, I know you're not.
That's a normal,
he may talk to it, but if he doesn't, I think he might be okay. Not okay. That's not the right word. I think he has to know he did all he could. I hope he has received that kind of support from people that there's nothing you can't save the world, let alone sometimes people will still have to make their own decisions. I can't imagine he did anything that would have, there's nothing he could have done different. Like, right. He has no one to blame. He can't blame himself. No.
And something that was really, really tough for me at this moment in time, and this is a stupid thing to say because I know that he was more than willing to be there for me, but my best friend who I was living at the time, who's here today, I remember him saying, I'm just so sorry. And he was crying his eyes out. I was just like, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I felt guilty that he felt like that. It's just stupid. But, and so I'd said before about how this is, me and my family are some of the characters in this story, but often what's not spoke about in the name of grief is people like my best friend and the role that they have to play. Now, these are not trained therapists. These are not people who've had any kind of reference of this kind of pain. And all you're doing as a best friend there is actually demanding or just praying, hoping that they give you something in return that will not change the reality, but just, be there for you or whatever. And that, nothing prepares you in life for those kind of situations. That's something that I will forever, forever, ever be in debt to him for. Because, yes, this is an unfathomable, it's a really impossible situation for me and my family to have found ourselves in. But there are other people at play too, and I can only imagine how hard that was. And he knew how hard it was for me and how I just lost my mum. And there are no words, right? I'm sure you're just scrambling your brain trying to find the words and there isn't any. Also, bear in mind everything that I've said before this. If I was to dumb my role down to like one thing in life, I'd maybe say like to look after people. Well, like in the context of my sisters, the protector, right? To lose my sister in the manner that we did, even though I knew that it wasn't fair on myself, like I felt utterly guilty. I felt powerless, and I felt like I'd let my sister and like I'd let my mum down, really. My mum said to me, in like the last couple of weeks of her life, she was like, you better promise me you look after your sisters. And I'm like, yeah, of course, I will. And she was like, but specifically Felicity, she's fragile. I felt like I'd failed at the time. That's the truth.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
I don't think he feels that way now. He said, I felt that way at the time.
Yeah.
He's made peace with it, of course. But yeah, that's natural, of course. Here's his mom saying, that's horrible. Like, I didn't know that story. Like, his mom literally said, especially that Felicity, because the mom knows her daughters more than anyone. Like, she might take this loss the hardest type thing. Like, she might.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I can.
This half hour sucks.
Yeah, this is the hardest one to listen. Not that it's hard to listen to.
But just
it's real. It's you can't help but love Louis for being this willing to be open and honest about this. But it's just
What's also hard is we're reactors, commentators, and I don't obviously I try to be funny and light, and that's like I just feel for him and his loss and anyone that's gone through this, and this is his story, though. This is his history, and I'm glad we're hearing it from him. Not any speculations online or Reddit or whatever it is. These are his words. This is how he felt. It's just, but we know he's doing okay. Like, as far as you can, like, he's doing good. Like, he's gone through it. He felt it. He experienced it. But he's here today. He is still here. He's sober of mind and soul. He shows love to people. He's here. He's creating still. He has his art, his music. So that's good. I mean, he's gone through it, but he's showing you can go through this stuff. That's the victory lap at the end, maybe, that we'll get to. But is that, but he's here talking about it. He is here. He said it's always going to be, the grief is always there. It's like the stupid Marvel Incredible Hulk, someone asked Incredible Hulk when he's Bruce Banner, like, what's your secret? How are you able to turn into the Incredible Hulk so quickly? He goes, well, I'm always angry, So meaning you wouldn't know it just by talking to him, but that's what Louis is saying. He's like, not that he's always grieving, the grief level is that high, but the idea is it's always there. There's that tinge or film, so to speak, over his soul that's going to be there, but he lives and he loves and he creates and he's here. But yeah, he said the grief will never go away. It's tough.
Yeah.
So some comment here. Okay. All right. There we go.
I know now that I didn't, and if she was here now, she would say that you didn't. But yeah, it doesn't change the feeling, and that's, again, that's always been the role I played in the family. So, and all I was trying to do after my mum was just put me and my sisters and my grandparents in a bubble, and just like, nothing's gonna get to us, So that it sounds like a really arrogant thing to say. I mean this more metaphorically, but it truly undermined me. It undermined all the hope that I'd had, all these kind of ideas that I was instilling post a life without our mom. It just kind of undermined all those ideas. It made it a lot more challenging for me to say them and feel them and believe them. But the same with my sisters, So it just made everything, obviously, infinitely more difficult. The only thing I'm thankful is that my mum wasn't around to see that, because that would have been horrible for her. But
I actually learned this from being around Liam. When someone is struggling with their own demons per se, unless you've been around someone who's really struggling, you probably don't understand how helpless it often feels. And in hindsight, it's, someone that's not been in those situations thinks, well, you just go over there and you sit with them and have dinner and then you fix it. You just stay. But actually the reality of helping someone who's struggling is they often do things in private and in secretly. You referenced, you knew that Felicity was struggling with something. Was that the passing of your mother that she was struggling with, or was it life generally?
I think it was a bit of both. I think obviously mum passing definitely amplified any of those things. But I think with Felicity, she was one of these people that she was uber intelligent from a young age, really, really, really intelligent, which is ironic because I'd say we're a relatively smart family, but she was in her own league. Really, really intelligent woman. And I think that brought its own like social frustration for her. Definitely, you know, you hear these people that are like intelligent from a young age. She would always have felt like she was on the outside looking in, but only because of like her intellect really. And you know, that's tough for kids when they're younger. Definitely, it's not something I can personally relate to, but I can imagine how that would be really alienating and tough. Felicity was probably the most like me mum. So that also.
So she sounds like that's what the mom was saying, that she knew the daughter enough to know not just the passing of her, but there's, I guess, just the type of person she was, that this would be the thing that kind of might aggravate what's already sort of there with her, you know, with those things, you know, because that's what he's saying. It wasn't just my mom's passing. There was other things that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, as the mom, like you say, if she sees these seeds in any of her kids, she's going to think, oh, that one's probably going to struggle the most. And,
yeah.
Carried its own weight because it felt. I'd say Felicity looked the most like my mum as well, like visually. Oh, wow.
I mean, she's
yeah. It's crazy.
You all look like each other, to be honest.
Yeah, we do. I used to get that when I was younger. People always used to say how much I look like my mum, and as a young lad, that's not really what you want to hear. I'm really proud that. Yeah.
Well, she's a very pretty lady, and you're a very handsome guy. So you get it's good bone structure, facial features for sure.
Yes, I don't think your mom would ever get that haircut, but
no, your mom would get
everything else.
Yeah, you can see how much I love her there. Bless.
Mm.
But you see, I've alluded to some of this stuff in the past, not really ever spoke about it in depth like this. And part of the reason for that is, and this is the correct forum and it makes sense, but part of the reason for that is I can't think of anything worse than being, what's the word? If someone like this was talking to me about this and I had not experienced that, I'd feel really sorry for them, naturally. I don't like that. I don't like those feelings. I don't like those ideas. I appreciate that it's weighty and people should, of course, feel sorry. But I think the reason that I'm always quite selective of when I talk about it is because I cannot have that define me. I can't. It's not fair to my family. It's not fair to Felicity. It's not fair to my mum. Like, I can't. And, you know, the problem is if we walked out of here and we just happened to get papped, right? In the article, the Daily Mail print, every single time they will write about this stuff, you know, like every single time. It could be me and you going to get a coffee and then, you know, they do that thing where it's like a 20% new article and then they just fluff out the rest of the 80% with basically the narrative that they want to push. But that's something that I can't escape, and I find that really frustrating because I'm not someone who is a glass half empty kind of guy. I don't want those kind of feelings and emotions. I empathize and understand with anyone hearing these stories. Of course, maybe you would feel bad for me, but I think my biggest worry in these kind of things is to not be defined by it. And an example of that would be when I released a song called Two of Us, which was a song that was written essentially about my mum's passing.
Yeah.
And okay, before you tell us about the song, interesting. It's a fine line. It's tough because we are who we are because of our experiences in life, and so some experiences are some are very high, some are very low, some are just very normal, but they all sort of shape the end product, which is who we are today. Like you could go through, you talked about your cancer and but it did shape something in you. It changed the trajectory. And same with, you could say, like my divorce 20 odd or was 16, 17 years ago. Like there's something that got shaped and shifted, and I met Becky. And so there's, you know, but people could feel sorry for me, or oh, I'm sorry you went through that, or sorry you went through that, Nathan, with your treatments and the suffering and the scares. And but at the same time, like I think, and I'm not disagreeing with Louis' assessment. I'm just saying It's just during those discussions. I don't see Louis as someone who's lost his sister and his mother. Like, I don't see him as that way, but I don't know him as a person. I get it. I just know him as a celebrity. So I get what he's saying, but at the same time, I'm aware of the journey. But now if you're talking about it to me right now, I'm going to say, like when you talked about yours, I was like, it reminded me, oh, I'm sorry you went through that. Like I told you when you were going through it, like, I'm sorry you're going through that. Let's hope for the best. Right. But I don't say that to you every day.
Yeah.
So I think it's more in the moment we say, hey, that sucks. You're going through that. But I don't see Louis now as a survivor of loss. I just see him as Louis. So I want Louis to know, hey, I see you for who you are, Louis. Nathan.
And I don't think he's I think he's really trying to distance himself from being defined that way, because when you actively take a role in trying not to, I really do think it's very tempting when, especially if you feel a little, you don't feel that great about yourself, that when something like this pops up, if Louis didn't have some of the fame and some of the other things and all the other aspects that makes him who he is, it would be a whole lot more tempting for him to go, okay, I'm going to let this define me then. Right. Because it is tempting. It's easy to think that I'm getting more attention now that, people see that I have cancer, and it feels very tempting to be like, I'm going to talk about this more. But it's funny that I say that out loud, because I think there were times when I felt that a little bit. But there's often times when I don't want to talk about it either. Like I hear what Louis is saying here, and I'm like, I bring it up when I need to, when I think it's relevant, but it's not like I start well, here's me. I'm a cancer survivor, and this is that stuff is like, ugh, I don't need to bring that up. I don't. And so I get what he's saying. And because he's been so I'm not letting this define me. He's like, this is the right format for me to do this here on this podcast. This is where I'll talk about this. And that's honorable that he's doing it. If he goes out on his next tour and then says like, this is my grieving tour, then obviously that's over the top.
Right. That's fair what Ryan was saying here. So and I think that's what Louis is speaking to as well, because he mentioned that the paparazzi will do a headline of him playing soccer or seeing a friend, and then the article loops in how many people in his life he's lost because it's sellable. That's yeah. Louis still finds fun playing soccer with his friend.
Yeah,
despite.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Then that's probably what he's speaking to. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Actually. Okay.
I didn't realize by releasing that song how it would open the floodgates to have many people kind of, put a lot of their trauma on me as well, which is okay, but also creating this thing where anyone just feels like they could ask anything then. So I remember going on to BBC Breakfast News. And it's one of those things, it's fucking early morning slot. Like, not even the presenters want to be there. Never mind me at that time. I'm not good at the early mornings. Anyway, so I'm going on to talk about Two of Us, the single. Now, we distinctly said, you know what it's like? These are the things that are okay to mention, and do not mention these things. Now, if I was going to go on and talk about what the song was about, then fair enough. That's one thing. But I actually had a journalist at the time who asked me directly about those things, and I'd known that we'd said don't. Now, it's very different to be like, sometimes on that list we might have don't speak about One Direction. Like that this is not what I've got a problem with. But when someone's had their own grief and you're still then going to ask those kind of questions, I think I find that really, really troubling. And I think what was interesting was I left the interview, and I used to be good at this when I was a bit younger, and I took to Twitter and was like, never fucking working with the BBC again, blah, 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 blah. And then he came.
Sure, why not? Who cares? Yeah. Call them out. I have no problem with that. Call them out for their,
Absolutely.
Back at me, this journalist. He said, well, if you write a song about grief, expect to be asked about it. And my instinctive reaction was, there's somebody who hasn't experienced grief. They couldn't possibly have. Because if they had, they wouldn't make such a horrible, horrible comment that just lacked all kind of empathy. So I think...
Yeah. I mean, or they've experienced grief, but they don't... What I mean, but yeah, that all the same. That's a terrible response. We told you not that. It doesn't matter what our reasons are. I don't want you to talk about my bad haircut. Like that, they probably told Steven, don't mention his bad haircut, Steven. Because that was the first question I would have asked. Louis, welcome to the show. on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with your haircut? But anyways, no, you get the point. So like, look, this is the BBC. Come on, guys. Like this is interview 101. Anyone that knows anything about interviews knows we're not talking. Like I said, we're not talking about One Direction. Okay, we won't bring it up.
Yeah.
Like just don't bring it up. We got other questions. We only have 10 minutes. That's pretty easy, right?
Yeah, but people want. Yeah, it's so funny. Think about that. Like, why would you approach it with a? Let's see if we can snag them on get our little sound bit, like a little throwaway or credibility, but we'll get our thing. Like, why wouldn't you start it off with like, look, we don't want to like cross any boundaries here. Tell us what's off limits and what we're okay to talk about, and we'll go from there. Like,
how's the new album coming along? And
it's not hard to ask at the beginning, and like off record. Let's just make sure we don't step on each other's toes here. Keep our credibility intact.
Yeah, we understand Louis gone through a lot recently. Is there anything he doesn't want us to talk about? Cool. We won't bring it up. Easy. Yeah. Okay, guys, I need you to draft questions that will fill a 10-minute time slot. Do not bring up his mother or sister. Good. Go. And then I screen the questions. Cool. And if anyone goes off script, you're fired. End of story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's those kind of moments where I'm quite guarded with this kind of information, just because I think a lot of people, if I never spoke about it, I don't carry myself as someone that looks like they're really hurting. At least I hope I don't. I don't think I do.
No.
Do you know what I had? This sounds like a crazy thing for me to say, but I had no idea.
Okay, right, yeah, okay, yeah.
So we met at Soccer Aid.
Okay, right.
I had no
like
idea.
that. Okay, that makes me feel good, actually.
And it's just me being honest. I had no idea. I'm not someone that I don't really read newspapers. I don't stay close to tabloid stuff. I had known Liam, but Liam hadn't spoken to me about these things. I'd met you. We'd hang out for a couple of days at Soccer Aid. I had no idea.
Yeah, okay.
And it was only in researching your story and your background and understanding where you've come from and really what inspires a lot of the music and different things like that I started to understand these things. So you're certainly not someone that carries yourself in with any particular identity. Really, that's that
Louis
one
struck.
Could discern. Other than
say again,
he's getting Louis struck. He's under Louis' spell.
I know. It's that elvish magic.
Yep, you can tell it's starting to hit him.
And just being a normal guy. And the other thing that connects us it was Liam. And I think it would have been Liam's birthday a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
His birthday was 3 days off mine. So his 29th of August, I believe. And mine's the 26th. And we both, I knew him a little bit. You knew him an awful lot. And he passed away while on holiday in Argentina. I mean, yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And you to him, because he had told me, he talked about you all the time. Through the pandemic, I know you were doing things together, doing these sort of live shows and stuff. And he would talk about you as if you were his best friend in the band all the time. And I guess that's you reciprocate that feeling with him, right? You were like especially thereafter the band,
Definitely thereafter. I'd say, in the first couple of years, me and Liam used to speak about this. We kind of butted heads a little bit. Like I said before, Liam had been, he'd been working really, really hard since the age of 14 to get to where he was in One Direction. My journey wasn't like that. So there was definitely, if I wanted to do something and I might be going out late at night and then Liam might say something along the lines of, we've got a photo shoot at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We never saw eye to eye on those kind of things.
The irony. Meaning...
Explain.
Well, it's unfortunate that Liam, after One Direction, it seemed like kind of fell out a little bit with sobriety in a sense of like poor choices under the influence and stuff. So it's just ironic and terrible that during the band's time, it was Liam telling Louis, hey, you need to settle down. You need to be responsible. We've got to shoot in the morning. We've got... Again, it makes you wonder, had the band, I know, in an alternate universe, let's pretend the band never went on hiatus, right? Well, it's pretty obvious that after the band's hiatus, Liam struggled. But within the band, he seemed to have more of a structure and seemed to be more quote unquote responsible. He's telling Louis here, "Hey, don't go party. We've got a shoot in the morning. Like, what are you doing? We got to be responsible."
Yeah, I kind of think, I totally agree with Diana right now. That feeling of him having to be the responsible one, it's like you when you're no longer, that role isn't assigned to you anymore. You're less likely to take that on for yourself, right? Because it's like you have a job to go around and help people, and that keeps you out of trouble, right? By going and being helpful. But then suddenly you don't have that role anymore. Who's watching you, right?
Yeah. Well, he was listless. He's a little bit listless after.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I've got this amazing opportunity, so I'm still going to go out and, party or whatever. But I think Liam, he came from a very, very sensible point of view, but mostly because he'd given so much more time and energy to it by that point. Like as I said, like yes, it was my third audition, but really they weren't too taxing, the moments of the rejection. I just got on with it and got through it, and it was fine. The only time X Factor was relevant to me was the times when I was auditioning those days. Whereas Liam, it became his life from 14 right up until 16. He'd sang at like West Brom Stadium before like any of us had done anything. I put my post up about,
that's a weird head. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He was
his whole section there that just got chopped out. Yeah.
His mouth was moving, but no sound was coming. Did you catch that?
Yeah, maybe his voice cracked.
Just no, like it was. Sorry, I gotta go back just like 10 seconds. 127.30. He was like this. He's like, no sound. Sorry, I don't know why that made me chuckle.
Maybe his voice cracked, and they just wanted to.
No, I think it's just. I think he was. It's just a weird edit. There was like no audio, but his mouth was moving.
I
see.
Yeah, it's just they cut it strangely. Yeah.
Why would they mute it, keep the visual, and then cut?
I don't know.
Sorry, one more time.
Up until 16, he'd sang at like West Brom Stadium before like any of us had done anything. When I put my post up about him, and by the way, it's just so utterly.
This interview was not edited in any way, shape, or form. Really?
Challenging that, like there are just too many words and too many memories. It could just be infinite. The post, I really wanted him to be remembered the way that he should be remembered. But this, I could just go on and talk all day about how amazing he was. But I think we all looked up to him. If we were, I don't think I would have been brave enough to say at that age when I was in the band. I think I would have had too much pride. But we all looked up to him massively for like the reasons that I just stated. He was vastly experienced before any of us had done anything.
Yep.
He was also like the safest pair of hands, like in every sense of the word. So like vocally, interview, music video, like whatever it would be, and he'd be like working and doing it. Like he would always be the safest pair of hands. Where maybe if me and say in the back, like either smoking a joint or doing something stupid, Liam would always have his eye on the ball, which ironically created more space for when you've got someone who's willing to pick up the pieces, and you've got young lads don't reflect and go, oh, I can see he's picking up a lot of the pieces, I'm going to do a bit more for him. Well, no, you just see that. Like my role in the band might have been to be disruptive and have conversations with record labels and or management or whoever. And that was for me to be disruptive and go against the grain. Liam's role was the opposite, but equally, if not more important, to just keep everything going, and be that safe pair of hands of keeping everything in check. That's why from like a very young age, like he was called like the sensible one of the band, which I also don't think will have done him loads of favors mentally either.
He was
interesting. Didn't do him loads of favors mentally, like you're saying. He was taking all that role on like it was almost like he took the role on. They allowed him to have the role, and in some ways, they almost made the role difficult for him at times.
Yeah. Which probably just honed his focus, right? Made him stronger that way. I experienced that as a teacher, really. When you're in a school system and you're responsible for people in the classroom, you suddenly you're on, right? You're switched on to problems, and you hear things, and you're just going around and you're very much attentive. But then being out of the school system for a while, it's not that my life fell apart, but the structure of that has actually been really challenging for me to try and have a purpose,
right.
Because you have to kind of make it up. Yeah.
Wildly misunderstood.
Big time, man. Big time.
And oftentimes people maliciously misunderstood him, which was hard. It's hard. I don't know if I have the right words for this, but if you knew Liam Payne and then you went on the internet and saw the way that he was described when, certain moments in press, there was that interview he did in LA and things like that.
Yeah.
You could only feel awful that he was so poorly misunderstood, because he was often painted as being arrogant or whatever, but the reality of Liam is the opposite of whatever the word arrogant is. Mm-hmm. Pure is the word.
Really nice way of describing him like that. And I don't mean this in a remotely rude way or derogatory way. He had a bit of puppy dog energy about him. He's just when you say pure there, that's what it makes me feel like. He's just the kind of guy that you might get a bit of banter wrong and it comes across a bit cutting, and you see him go, oh, and you go, oh, fucking arsehole. Yeah. He's just really want it to be liked. Now we all do, obviously, that's in all of us, but I think for Liam, it was vitally important. But also he missed out on some of the social life, because from 14 to 16, he was actually working at that point. He was still at school and stuff, but his brain and his dreams, and probably every night that he went to sleep, he was thinking about how is he going to achieve what it is that he wants to achieve. So he definitely had a very different journey to all of us.
Where were you?
Do you think they're ever going to do a One Direction biopic the way they are doing with the Beatles? And
there's enough people, and the boys are all still around. I think they'll be.
No, but it's not necessary. They're I won't say it's unauthorized, but they can do a biopic without their permission, so to speak.
Yes, that's why I think it'll happen. Yeah.
Okay.
When you found out
in the car in LA, and I just dropped, I'm pretty sure, again, my memory isn't good at these moments of time, but I think I just dropped Freddie off at school, my son, and we were just about to pull back up home. I think that's how it went down. It was actually, I found out through Niall. He told me, and then I think he said, Niall said something along the lines of, have you seen the news? And I knew as soon as he said that, kind of knew what it might meant, what he might have meant. I had the feeling that I had with Felicity, and I think anyone has this when they're around someone who's struggling. My 150% wasn't nearly enough. And that's where it's my own arrogance thinking that I could have helped, really, because it was so much deeper than what I could have done for him. He was definitely struggling at that time in his life. And a lot of people said this, and it really resonated with me. He never, if he could just see, just for 5 minutes, just live in your head or my head and see how we perceive him, he would be so shocked. Mm. He would be honestly, even the fact that you two were friends, and I didn't know about that until you mentioned it at Soccer, or maybe he mentioned it loosely. He would have loved that. You would have been someone definitely that he would have felt really proud to know, and because you come from also a very credible space, and that's something that was always really important to Liam. Business, very, very important to Liam.
Sorry, I know he's not in a bad way. He keeps going here. I don't want to lose my comment from earlier. It's interesting how he kind of equated Liam's passing to his sister's. I don't want to put words in his mouth because he didn't quite say it this way, but I think he's sort of saying he's not surprised. It wasn't like it was a shock. Like, what? It's heartbreaking. It's sad and terrible, but he wasn't blown over by the news. It was like, I didn't, because he said, like, even I gave him 150% of what I could give him from, what I have to offer him. I gave all I could plus more, but it wasn't enough of, like, I couldn't save my sister and I couldn't save Liam.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
So and I like how he's kind of like, he's made peace with that because he had the guilt with his family. Yes. And I hate to say that, boy, poor Louis here, but his trial with his family kind of built the strength he needed to deal with Liam.
That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that's absolutely, he's got resilience.
Right.
He's learned resilience.
He's also learned that it's not his fault or it's not his duty to save the world. Yeah.
So the fact that you saw him, like, that would have meant the world to him. Definitely. He very, very misunderstood. But I think also the fact that he was misunderstood is because he was, like I said before about all of our solo endeavors. When most bands or artists start out, they do a development stage for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. We had to do this development in the public eye post being in One Direction. Liam was still working so much out. So the fact that he might have been a bit misunderstood, you can't, there's some things that people definitely can be judged for. But in terms of him occasionally coming across like that, you can't even judge people on looking because they just see what they see. But in reality, that's just someone navigating almost in the way that if you went down to university and just people watched for 2 months, you would see some stuff, of people that were struggling with some things and whatever, or, complete walking contradictions. You'd see someone in their first year who says that they swear by this brand and they'll never wear this brand. And then next year they'll be wearing said brand. When we're at that age, we're all still just working it out. So there's so much room to be misunderstood because you don't know yet, And I think that was a tough thing for all of us is working out who am I outside of Liam in One Direction, Louis in One Direction. Who am I and what?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because it's the two-edged sword of celebrity, meaning my family friends have seen Ryan grow and figure himself out throughout my life because they're the ones that are around me. They're not that I'm a celebrity, but I'm known to them. So my celebrity is like 20 people. And so people do see the mistakes I've made. They see the victories I've had. They see the lessons I've learned. And it's all just in our circle of family and friends, right? It's not on social media. It's not on tabloids. It's just, that's the unfortunate thing about celebrity is, yeah, they get fame and glory. Absolutely. They get money, opportunity. They get thrills that they'll have heights of thrills that we'll never experience. But then the flip side is that during these formative years, especially, everything's scrutinized. So the same way that your family friends might not scrutinize, but they might witness your growth and misfortunes and stub toes and bad days. Now you've got millions of tweets and Instagram posts and
I think on the other side of this, that's all 100% true, and that's the sucky part of fame. On the other side of this, I'm really glad that Louis is explaining this in this way, because it's not just celebrities, it's like young people. This is young people 101, and the number of adults that just can't remember what going through all those phases of like, I don't know who I am, and like he said, like you might say that brand that sucks, and then like 2 years later you're wearing it, or this kind of music, just like this channel, like the way this channel exists, right? We were young and we were stupid saying things like country is the worst music ever, and One Direction, right? we would have never picked One Direction on our own, right? But look where we are now, and I think that's the part of this that really is impacting me, is Louis really painting the right picture here of like, just give each other a break, like we get so bent out of shape when somebody changes course in their life, as if like that's this, but like, I mean, that's literally the tattoo in my arm. It's literally what it means. It's like, not all who wander are lost. Like, that's not what life is. The people who wander in life, who are trying to figure out who they are, just give them a break. Yeah.
Well said, Nathan. As always, well said.
What does that look like? And that question's intimidating, really, really intimidating.
You lose a friend there, but you also, in some respects, it's grieving the band again, is it not? Is it not? You know what I mean?
It definitely brought up feelings like that. Look, there's now only 3 other people on the planet that can deeply understand my professional journey. Like, you never say never, right? But never, like, I can't ever imagine. I'm not sure it would be right to him. Like, say, sake of argument, 25 years time, it's like a fucking Oasis thing. They offer us an arm and a leg, and they're like, come back and do this many shows. I don't know. Yeah, I think it just completely put a pin in all of that. And the irony is,
so you're talking about like a possible in light of Liam's passing, there's just no way they're gonna go on stage together.
I think that's what he's saying.
And Mike, it was a weird edit, so he's saying.
Yeah, I wonder if he might have gone on a different different direction at first, going like, yeah, I guess that could possibly. And then he went, wait a second, no, you're right.
So I think. Yeah, that's what he says Marianne. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's I honestly, and this again, I know people don't like it when I say this, but this was before Liam passed. I said I don't think they're ever going to have all 5 of them on stage. There's just no way. And now even with Liam's passing, there's just no way. If they were gonna do it, would have been at his funeral, some sort of charity event or some sort of like that.
Right.
It didn't happen. As time goes on, their wounds will heal. They will never. Maybe they'll sing together, like at a Zayn show, Louis comes out, or at a Niall show, Harry could come out.
Yeah,
that would break the internet. That would break the internet. But
it would. Yeah.
Man, that's a put your Vegas odds on which of the 2 would do it first, and I would still give it 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, the crazier reunions have happened. Like the Eagles broke up and they hated each other. Like they hated each other. And that's why when they had the reunion tour called Hell Freezes Over, because that was why they said we were never. Because I think it was Don Henley says they'll tour together when Hell Freezes Over. So when they did 30 odd years later, it was called the Hell Freezes Over tour. So I mean,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So time does heal wounds. Same with the Guns N' Roses, quickly, like Slash and Duff coming back to Axl. So the reason why it's called Not in This Lifetime tour when they started touring again is because Slash said, I'm never touring again with Axl in this lifetime. So again, that tour was called Not in This Lifetime tour. So people do bury the hatchet and forgive, or not forgive, but just it can happen, but it's going to be 10, 15 years at least. That's my guess. Yeah.
No.
There was no one campaigning for One Direction to get back together more than Liam. And like, I would say I came in a close second, actually, like definitely. Another important thing to mention.
We always said that there was Louis and Liam, that the first 2 back would be those 2. And it's not a criticism, it's just an observation. And he's confirming it. Everybody goes, Liam first, then me a close second. So there you go.
Yeah.
About Liam, which I thought was incredible. There's a time where I felt like me and Liam were professionally losing together. We were struggling to be solo artists and find true success, and we were kind of struggling together. And then Liam had little moments where he had like really successful singles and they streamed really well, and he'd like feel really good about that. But at that time, nothing was really working for me in my job. So I was really proud of him, and I'd message him and stuff. And then not to the same weight, but kind of role reversed a little bit. And Liam was struggling a little bit more professionally. And I just started to understand the picture a little bit more, started doing more touring and stuff like that. And like, for example, when I made a documentary and a film about like my life after One Direction, and Liam came to the premiere. Now, I'll just say this because I was going to mince my words, but none of the other boys would have done that. Fact, boys out the band, the lads in One Direction. Would I have even done that? I would like to sit here now and say, yeah, I think I would, but I don't know, truthfully. And the point being that me empathizing how I was a couple of years prior to that, Liam was sat in a cinema watching a film about how I'd been successful in the last 12 months when he was struggling with his own things.
Yeah,
and
it's a big deal.
It's something that I'm not sure I would have been brave enough to do. I'm not sure the other boys would have. And basically all that is, to sum that up, is just utterly putting himself second. There's no way that wouldn't have had a certain kind of weight on him. Because as you said, we're all human and we naturally compare. So, you know, there might be things that were happening there that he was wanting for. And I think just the fact that he turned up on that day and was there for me, and I just did the role reverse in my head and imagined that. I just imagined how challenging that could be. And it's just a real testament to Liam. And he couldn't have been more happy. And it's another great example, right, of this, of where the...
There you go. Huh? Sweetheart. What a sweetheart of a guy. You know? Yeah. That's a great testament to his character. Like, here's Liam struggling. We know he's struggling professionally. He's struggling, right, to kind of make his mark, you know, the way the other boys have. And here he is showing up at Louis' premiere, his documentary. And yeah, that's just sweet. It shows his good heart.
It's odd to me to hear that, like, and I agree with what Jenna just said here. You'd always hoped in the background that they would all still be friends and they all kind of hang out and you know, talk all the time or something, but not really. Like, I don't know if that's true, except for, you know, Liam would come to, you know, this thing, but they haven't really, like, they might throw a shout out on social media. Hey, like, I know that has happened when, like, one of them drops a new album, they usually comment and say something about how great, but that's just like, that's easy to do. Right. The taking the time and it's such a good point, because he's saying he's the one at the bottom of this who's really struggling the most. And he went and made that effort, you know. It is a big deal. Yeah.
Fucking internet, it's just a horrible place at times. He put up, and luckily I know someone will have screenshotted it because he deleted it in the end, but he put up this beautiful post after my premiere for this documentary, like an essay, a fucking essay, like stuff that he's never said to me before. It was like the sweetest, nicest fucking shit. And then about 2 days later, he deleted it because the fans were just caning him for it, just saying that he was like, you know, bandwagon, kind of like, you know what it's like. It's a very small percentage of people, but they make a lot of noise, and sometimes it'll push you to a point of like even deleting a post. But that being an example of him just really putting himself second and really trying to.
What? You get why, not that I put myself, there's a reason why even when I feel affected by comments, people can be mean. It's like they are insulting friends showing support because they're saying you're just jumping on Louis' bandwagon. So this is Louis fans. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. And part of why I think anytime when stuff bothers us, it's because there's like a tiny part of us that might believe that, but we totally ignore that. We just kind of like, no, that's not true, of course. And then when something confirms it, it just like gets under our skin, you know? It's like that for almost anything. So like, yeah.
Well, I agree, Marianne. They probably weren't really Louis, but because that's not Louis, that's not his, what do you call it? His spirit. But whoever they were, they were One Directioners enough to make like Nathan and I would never have thought to make the kind of comments. There were people within the One Direction umbrella to some degree to make that noise. I don't know what what would their intent be? What would their hope be? It's weird. That's
Hey, I mean, it's not like on our channel we haven't had the occasional, and very rarely, but the occasional a cray-cray person, right? That we've had to dismiss.
Yeah, I understand.
Say to the world how proud he was of me, and the end goal was more ridicule.
And same happened right when he was in Argentina. He was there watching Niall performing. There was lots of similar narrative around his appearance there.
And all I would say in any regard like that, not just Liam, in any person like that, after you judge, because sometimes it's human nature to judge, after you judge, just give those things just a little bit more thought. So take the tour thing, for example, and he's at the tour show and people were making comments of how much he was loving the attention. On the surface level, that's someone who wants attention. If you just look a little bit deeper, that's someone who's just been in the biggest band in the world and wants those situations again, who hasn't had those live situations again and craves for them.
Sure.
The reason also Liam could be misunderstood is because he didn't really operate with a filter, you know? So he would just feel something, say it, and there you go.
Is there anything else that you've been meaning to say?
Good question.
It's a great provocative question, that.
Because that's what we say.
I got to say this.
Yeah,
so I've done some interviews with with people for videos, and that question, more than any other question I ever ask, gets the most emotion. Because we always come prepared with our content, with like the things you're expecting are going to be asked, right? And then when you ask a question that's not expected, is there something that you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say? He basically said exactly how I say it. And like every time I've ever had somebody break down in tears, it's that question. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how he responds to that.
Right? No, there is. Well, we should talk about Freddie for a second, my little boy.
Fatherhood.
Yeah. Which is again something that happened to me. I was young. I was 24 when I had Freddie. Now, the emotions that a lot of people go through when they become a new parent, some of those will be different for me because I've always been uber excited about it, even from like being a young lad. But also, truthfully, I felt utterly confident. I felt like I was going to be a good dad. I really, really wanted to do that and to play that role. And he's just, honestly, he is just the sweetest kid, man. He's just so kind. Like, that's what, honestly, I could well up thinking about it now. Like, that's what makes me feel deeply proud.
That's what I did ask Lottie and a few others about him. And the quote that I got back is, Louis is the most amazing dad. His little boy is the nicest, sweetest, most polite boy ever. And that's obviously because of how Louis...
Can't say that about my kids, so... God bless him. Yeah. Maybe it's the dad. Maybe I'm the problem. Yeah, that could be me. I could be the problem.
Has brought him up. I tried to take a lot of advice and be more like him with my parenting, and that came from Lottie. And I have multiple accounts of just how wonderful of a young man Freddie's growing up to be. So that's
he's great, man. I tell you what, I'm at this age, 33. Few grey hairs on my head, starting to be a bit more aware of my age, feeling a little bit older.
Where me age?
There's nothing that makes you feel better than when I go pick him up from school. I am a young dad. Like, for that age group, I'm still a young dad.
Yeah, but I guess people are still having kids older, right? So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good for my ego as well. The other things that can sometimes be challenging like that with Freddie is it was like the elephant in the room for ages, me talking about like my life and specifically the fame, like specifically like those kind of things. Cause I think to a kid, they just see it in the pure sense of a singer, you know, there's someone who sings and that's that. But I think where it became inevitable that I'd have to have conversations with him, it'd be like, say we're out, you know, at Target in America and someone stops me for a photo. Now, I'd like to say I'm pretty good with photos. I'll do them 8 times out of 10. Whenever I'm with Freddie, there is a 1000% no chance. Like, that is just not happening. I don't get enough time with him as it is. I'm always balancing my time between tour and going to see Freddie in the UK. So, like, it's just a flat no every single time.
Yeah, makes sense.
And after, like, the second or third time that had happened, I just played in my mind. I put into bed that night and I was reliving it, and I was thinking, he's going to think I'm a dick. Like, and I was like, because I, you know, it's really important that, you know, I push kindness on him and respect and seeing the good in people and all of that. And all of a sudden I was doing this thing that was really contrary to what I was trying to teach. So I did have to have a conversation with him about it. But again, you're trying to explain algebra, as I said to you before. When I'm not at work, like, I would be more than happy to like nobody to ever recognize me when I'm not at work. When I'm at work, I'll need it for the promo. Give me a bit of that. But when I'm not at work, like I could go out my way to just never have any of that. Hood up, no one, cool. So when I'm picking up Freddie from school, I am certainly not some guy who used to be in this band and this singer. Like, not at all. I am there like everyone else, as a father or as a mother. It was last day of term, go to pick him up, I go into his class, and I could just hear what sounded like karaoke, and I'm thinking, of all fucking days of me going to pick him up, they're doing karaoke today. And she had absolutely no problem asking me in front of everyone if I wanted to come to the front and do one of the songs. Now, I'm there as a parent, like, you know, that's that. And what's really tough is, in front of Freddie and all his friends, I have to politely decline. Now, I don't really like how that's going to make Freddie feel. You know, those kind of situations are really, really tough like that, where, now some people may...
Nathan, would you have karaoke in front of the class for your kids?
That's a different thing. If you would ask, put it this way, if it was, a bunch of the parents have been asked to make videos of their kids and then submit them in kind of like a contest of things. And it's all voluntary. Like, there's a part of me that would think like, oh, I'd crush that. But then the other part is like, no, like that, no, thank you. Like, that's not something I want to like get into sort of because that it's just not fair. And it feels almost like it was catered, right? It was like, hey, we're going to do this. We got Louis. So let's make a karaoke thing. Let's get Louis to sing for us. That'd be great. Yeah.
It's probably some teacher who, you know, was going to try to, she's probably a 30 year, you know, she's probably One Direction fan, like telling her friends, Louis, you know, Louis' son goes to my school, goes to my class, right? So,
right.
You know, this is no offense to Louis or even Harry Styles, even as big as these guys are, and like, especially people watching our channel, people on our Patreon watching this live, there's a lot of people who wouldn't recognize them in the world.
That's true.
There's a lot of people. Like, I don't even think my wife would recognize Niall or Zayn. If Zayn knocked on the door selling like insurance, my wife would be like, no thanks, I'm not interested. And it could be Zayn proper.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, this cute guy came by, but I told him no.
So it's like, so as big as they are in the world, it's amazing how many people still don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You can get out more than you think. And a lot of celebrities do get out more than they think, unless they're like, the Brad Pitts, Leonardo DiCaprio's, but it's amazing how many people they're just at the airport like everyone else, and you put on a hat, and
I still think it's hard though, because you probably start to let your guard down a bit, and you go like, oh, you know what, no one is recognizing me, and then all of a sudden, you know,
well, the problem is you're like one person, then they tweet Louis at Walmart, you know, so it might be one person that recognizes you, but this is the problem with today's internet and social media, because 20 years ago, a celebrity could be spotted, but the one person spots them at the supermarket, but there's no way of informing everybody. So you could just say hi to the one fan.
Yeah. It doesn't trickle down very fast. Yeah.
I just grabbed the mic and just took the stage, you know, but there are moments like that I don't think he's going to truly understand until he gets a little bit older. He's been to a couple of gigs, and that definitely added like some context to it all.
He came and saw you in California, didn't he?
Yeah.
When you performed out.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. It was so amazing.
I did something at 24 years old that has had a profound impact on my life. I set myself the challenge of posting every single day on my social media channels. You want to start compounding both your reach, arrived at 33. You want to start compounding both your reach and your knowledge like I did at 24 years old, then head to adobe.ly/Stephen and get started with Adobe Express. That's adobe.ly/Stephen. I guess we should talk about the music.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, we pay for it too monthly. That's, but not because of you, Stephen. Sorry. Go to Adobe/Welp and get 20% off.
Yeah, because that exists.
Let's talk talk about. So you've been working on this album. And I think what's the important context we've had is I'm curious to know how much everything we've talked about today and the season of life that you've arrived at 33. You're now in love as well. Your girlfriend is set up there. From all the people I spoke to, you're very smitten. I think your friend.
Ooh. Who's the woman?
Who's the lucky lady?
Do we have a name? Do we have a name or is it private? Because if it's private, it's private. But do we know who? Has she been public with this woman, or do we know who it is? Or
from back home described you as being whipped.
Was that Nizam? Yeah. Sounds like him. That's funny.
And you went Instagram official.
There you go.
Yeah. New territory for me, all that. Yeah, I'm learning on the job.
How does that all weave into the music, and how is the music different this time around? Like, what are you thinking going into the studio?
You know, all those things are so relevant. They are like, you know, personal life and how happy you are and fulfilled and content. All of those things, of course, play into the record, definitely. I think because of, you know, a lot of the conversation we've just had, there's been a certain kind of weight to the music before now. Like I said, I wrote that song about my mum called Two of Us. Mm-hmm. And there's just a certain, I could imagine, you know, listening to my first record, like I'd be pretty exhausted after listening to it emotionally. It's like, fucking hell, just put in a couple of nice, happy, fun songs, you know. But it wasn't true to me at that time. So like, I think now I feel in a comfortable place to be like positive and like happy and confident. You know, that's one thing I was thinking about with this record is like, my intention is just to maybe feel good. I know that's a really cliche and like obvious thing to say, but
from the first song,
I'm not sure some of my other music did that. It made you feel, it was honest, it was painful at times, but it didn't feel that good. So I think now I've got this almost like a new sense of life, a new sense of happiness and purpose and fulfillment. And all of those things. But also, it's something I've, like, the older I get, the more hippie I can get on these kind of ideas. And if I would use an analogy, on the last two records, I had a very small palette of paint of the colours I was choosing from. And a lot of them were kind of darker colours. Whereas on this record, it feels like the palette is a lot deeper. There is a lot more to say, but there's a lot more color on there as well.
Oh, interesting. So
that makes me feel really good because that I must feel good to make that record. You can't fake shit like that, or at least I can't anyway.
And how much does love come into all of this?
Hang on.
As I said, I'm like deeply deep.
So, what? Well, I just that's fascinating because, like, I would argue that his excuse me,
okay,
his last two albums are actually quite positive. There's, I don't know if there's really anything that's dark. There's certainly, like, if you go through the lyrics and really pick them apart, you can find that. But like Bigger Than Me was one of my favorite ones that we got, and that's on the first album. That was one of the first ones that I was like, oh wow, Louis really, like, he's got a good knack for this. Like, he understands how to, look at life and really capture the moment of that. I thought that was, like, a great segue for us anyway to explore Louis' music. And definitely from because I was at the gym today and that song came on my playlist, Lemonade. And I was like, this is a good song. Like, and it's a happy song. It's upbeat, keeps you grooving. I'm excited for hearing the rest of the album.
I am too. Yeah. And here they are out in the wild, Nathan, just really quickly here.
Oh boy, yeah, she's a Luca.
Yeah, she's
lucky Louis.
Yeah, good for him. Bless his heart. All right, I don't blame him. All right,
romantic person. It's also easy to be romantic when you're a creative. Those two things are just they're tight. But I think for me, I really struggle to write in a fictional sense. I really, really struggle. So like for me, I have to have been living it. It has to be literal. It has to be real to me. So if I wasn't feeling so good like right now, I wasn't feeling so in love, the record probably would have a slightly different feel to it. Just because, things like that are in everything that we do, I would say.
And what is success for you this time around? Like, we talked about the comparison and this and that and all these other yardsticks we can use. And
I'll tell you what success is. Success for me is actually successfully computing what the new idea of success is. So I know what my old idea is, but true success for me, and I'm not there yet, is getting to the point where I don't just say, this is my new version of success. I mean it implicitly. And what's really difficult is the music industry is an industry that is A, a numbers game, and B, competitive. Now you can pretend to have this different version of success and you can get there in the end. But the point being that like there are a million different tools in place to pull you to the other side.
Yeah.
It genuinely shouldn't matter where my album charts. Let's just say like go for the UK, for example, where my album charts in the UK. It shouldn't really matter that much to me, but it does. I've not quite got there yet. And I think the irony is I just started to get there on the last record, and the last record, obviously, High Class Problem, I get that, went to number 1. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, obviously I want it again now. So I started to have the answer for what the new thing of success looks like until I superseded my own idea of success.
Yeah, it's tricky. That's the numbers game he's talking about. So it's like, maybe don't make it a numbers game. We do it even with our dumb channel. We have a good month or this or that. Are we succeeding? Are we right? And I think it's a feeling. What are we doing wrong? And so I think what we've come to, well, at least I've come to terms with, it's not about a numbers per se. It's just, are we enjoying this? And that's if you. Yeah. We don't have a goal in mind. That's the thing. We don't have like, if once we reach 100,000 subs on our channel or 10,000 patrons or then we're successful. Like we've never, like the numbers do represent success that we never thought we'd have on our small channel. But at the same time, I'm just happy doing this with you and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like that. I think I look at those goals and success as very different. Goals are like, just like me going to the gym. I have goals of, growing muscle, getting, stronger and all those things. But like, I'm not in this world of like, well, once I'm there, then I'll be happy. No, I'm happy right now. Like I love going to the gym. I love that feeling. And so it's, they can exist separately. And I know that they influence each other a lot, but like, sure, that'll be great when we get to 100,000, but like
when,
no, we will. But like, it's more of a, like, I'm enjoying this time right now. I don't want to like wait until we get there, then I'll be happy. Like,
right. Oh, I love you, Nathan. You're adorable.
Well, thank you.
And then I'm like, oh, well, then the barriers just changed. And then you're basically just playing the same game you were before.
Where are you in your journey of happiness? Like, if you had to plot your life on a timeline of like,
Oh, I like that because I never really thought about that. Thought about it like this, and it makes me feel good. It feels like I'm on the home straight.
Okay, nice, beautiful.
Like I feel like, truthfully, like obviously not what I would have told like my sisters like back in the day or my family or anything like that, but like it was more of a concept. The idea of me getting over this and being truly happy. For a long time. It was like a concept as opposed to any kind of form of reality. It was like, oh, well, I'm sure, logically that makes sense in my head, but will I ever get that? I don't know. I now feel worthy for the success that I've earned. And for a long time, I didn't know if I'd ever get there. And I would say this record, this album is the album that I always deserved to make. It's just I had to be brave enough to say, yes, I'm an artist. Yes, I'm a recording artist and I'm a touring artist and I'm a songwriter and all these things that sometimes just felt a little bit cringe to say out loud, weirdly. And I think part of the imposter syndrome, maybe.
Yeah,
but
which we all have.
The picture that was forever quite blurry looks a little bit more sharp now.
And I mean, the fans are waiting.
Yeah.
I saw the tweet you did the other day where you talked about the music and how confident you are and how you're feeling about it. And the response underneath that post was just insane. Absolutely insane. The energy is there. And people are extremely excited. You have an incredible fan base.
Yeah, honestly, I can never talk about this enough. And anyone listening to this now that doesn't know me or my fans would just think that this is just another artist speaking another cliche about his fans. I'm telling you, this is what I call it. It's a codependency. Like they do so much for me. And I do, hopefully stuff for them when I do the gigs and stuff. But like when I feel the energy on stage, this is not a let me show you all what I can do. This is a look what we've done together, and I really, really feel that. The size of the venues that I'll be playing on this next tour, these are things I never considered for myself and only made possible from the fan base being like really, really loyal, but also like real patient for me to just kind of, work all these things out on the fly while they keep buying the record.
The other thing that really surprised me that a lot of people didn't know about is that.
All right, Stephen Pigga, you got your notebook, your iPad. What do you work on? he's got some pulling things out of his pocket, notepads from under his shirt. Like, what? All right.
You are also a pretty prolific entrepreneur in your own right, and you've founded a music festival called the Away From Home Festival, which originally in London but has expanded internationally around Spain, Italy, Mexico. You got your clothing brand as well, 28. I saw 28 tattooed on your arm there, I believe, which is a streetwear 28 brand, and that's done tremendously well. The brand has sold 4 sold-out drops worldwide and hosted some incredible events. Well, I'm very excited.
Did he mute his mic again? He was talking and nothing came out. Like it was weird.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but it could have just been a mouth like thank you. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, his clothing is 28, and we got a question from a patron here, Jasmine. Are you going to a show? We did say in the previous video, but it's okay. We'll repeat it. Is that our intent is yes to see him June in Vancouver. We haven't bought tickets yet. We're hoping tickets will be available after Christmas. We just kind of have to see what the schedule's like for the new year. My work schedule is such where I can't commit that far into the future. It's a little bit tricky. That's all. So.
I'm very, very excited about your album. I'm very, very excited by it. I guess do you have a name for your fan base yet? Everyone seems to have a name for their fan.
Do you know what? That's so funny because like
the Tomlinson. I don't know what's it.
There must be though.
Aren't they called?
I thought they're just Louis.
Louis. I thought they're just Louis, aren't they?
Huh.
Maybe
he'll say.
Oh, I think they call themselves the Louis.
The Louis,
okay. Yeah.
So I'm a Louis. So
there we go. There we go. Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. We have a closing tradition on this podcast where the last guest leaves a question. The next guest not knowing who they're leaving it for. And the question left for you, it's a bit of a paragraph, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
Oh, that's why he's got the book.
If you are truly prioritizing the most important things in your life, brackets, e.g. family, and we only have limited time and effort to give, if you are a high achiever and performer, have you prioritized the most important thing?
No, I haven't. I have.
Who's that question from? Is that from Steve?
So previous guest. So that's what he does on at the end of his. Oh, the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest. It's kind of a cool
they don't even know who it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Nathan, for explaining that because you did mention you've seen other. Okay. Thank you. Caught up. Okay.
Then. But I would. That's a really tough one to answer. It requires some true honesty. The things that really, really matter. For a start, I spent a lot of my later teen years and early adult life in one direction. So I wasn't really in the headspace for the ball to have dropped for how important certain things are. When you're younger, you're super literal, right? Like if I drink this alcohol and get really drunk and I feel good, then that's good, right? Then you get a bit older and you realize, oh, maybe it's not so good. So like any of those kind of things, I suppose now I understand how important, looking out for yourself is and mental health, but also, I've always been a family guy, but I mean, actually deeply cherishing those moments as well. So I definitely could have done that more as a young lad, but I think that's probably the case of a lot of young people, that they probably reflect and think, well, I should have done that more as a young person. But the truth is the ball hasn't really dropped yet. You don't realize how important those all those little intricacies are. Because also when you're young, everything's so new. So you just like the allure is so much sexier on the other side. Oh, look, there's a new thing here, new thing here, new thing here. Whereas I think it takes a bit of age and experience to look at those things and go, oh, actually, maybe I haven't been spending my time correctly.
Yeah. I mean, you said it perfectly.
Yeah, it's just you only know what you know when you know it, and you learn more when you get older, and you go back and say, "I didn't know that then, but I know it now." And it's like, it's just the plight of aging. I wish I had some of the things I have now back when I was younger, but it just you can't know what you don't know till you know it. I don't know what else to say. Like it's
yeah. So
there is wisdom that comes with age, just because you've had an opportunity to experience failures, life lessons, and successes, and that works. Some things take time to figure out. You can't even read it in the book. It just, you get the point. Anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right.
And it really held the mirror up to me, to be honest, because I think, you said you haven't perfectly prioritized the most important things, but you're certainly prioritizing them more than most people. Because I hear about how much effort you put into making sure you spend time with Freddie, and your sister described you as always being family centric.
He's doing good.
In the karma world, beautiful thing. Louis, thank you so much. I can't be more excited to listen to the album with all the context that we've described, and also the understanding of where you've arrived at in your life now, and how your perspective has developed, and all that lived experience has poured into a beautifully uplifting, wonderful sound. So thank you so much for the honor and the privilege of being able to have this conversation with you, and just for being a really on and off camera, just a really, really sound guy.
Oh, nice one, man. I appreciate that. No, I really enjoyed it, man. It flew by, though. We've been talking for some time. Yeah, it's good, man.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Easy. Make sure you keep what I'm about to say to yourself. I'm inviting 10,000.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, obviously we gave our comments throughout, but closing thoughts. I love Louis even more. Great guy. He's grown. In even the time that we've known him in real time, he's grown. He's gone through some stuff. He shared some really incredible insights, stories. He's very thoughtful, very thought-provoking. He's a kind, courteous person. We always knew that about him, but it's just solidified again even more. So, yeah.
Yeah, you picked up on him pretty early and called him your little elf because you just want to like hug him, because he seems like the kind of person who has that just built into him, meaning he doesn't put it on or pretend, or it's just like who he is. And that's what Steve, right? That's his name. That's what he was picking up on. He's like, you're the same on and off camera. You're not putting on a, we're not going to have this little like, oh, phew, now I can stop pretending, like he knows that he has integrity. So yeah, Louis is the best. I agree with you, Mana.
All right. Before we close up, I just want to make sure, do I have the right names here? Right. I just want to make sure. Shoot. So I'm looking at this chat here. I just don't want to
contributors to this video.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Nathan. So
I'll play us the song while you're waiting.
I think this is right. Marianne, are you here? Marianne, are you in the chat right now?
I'm Marianne in the chat. Yeah.
So I think Marianne is the one that spearheaded this. I'm trying to find the time. Okay, here we go. Okay, no, that's not. I think it's Louis. I got Louis. She's definitely Louis. She did give us Zach saying stuff. I'm just trying to find the timeline here. This is ridiculous. I can edit all this out. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Got it. It's Marianne. Okay, I got it. It's the right chat. I just want to make sure it's the right chat. Okay, stop. Okay. Okay, you can do gentle music if you want in the background for the here again. Everyone thank Marianne. Actually, Nathan, what you can do is do a little note for each person. Okay. So everyone thank Marianne for spearheading this. Those who contributed are Diana, JML777, Celeste, ML, Aaliyah, Steph Welper, Dev M, and Marianne herself. Everyone, thank you. Those are the people who pledged the money for us to react to this big reaction. Thank you to all of them. And thanks to all our patrons. And thanks to our supporters on YouTube as well. We appreciate it. But come to Welp, the Kingdom of Welp, Planet Welp. That's where it's at. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you guys in the next one.
I come from Planet Welp.
Good luck, man.